Thank you. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Good morning, everybody. There's a gifting goal today. In fact, numerous gifting goals today. You want to contribute there, help us get to the FYP, and more importantly, stay out there. We are being suppressed like crazy. We know that, so we need your help. We are also still funding for the Do Something Tour. Hit a big milestone yesterday as we passed 6K. You want to contribute to the cause, so to speak. The dollar train is always available. Any donations are always appreciated, never expected. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you head on over to the link tree in my bio, you'll find lots of information. You'll find resources. You'll find a link to the Facts HQ, which is factsstillmatter.site. It's our merch hub. It's information. Also there, you'll find a link to the Discord. If for some reason that doesn't work, please just contact one of our moderators and or copy the link, put it in a browser. That should open for you too. We've got information on registering to vote. More importantly, though, the first link you'll see would be the Do Something Tour Instagram page. Please consider following along there. Please subscribe to YouTube. Please subscribe to Twitch. All kinds of stuff happening. Lots of information, lots of updates we'll have for you over the next couple of weeks regarding the Do Something Tour. As a reminder, I'm heading to New York with a whole bunch of other creators. Should be really fun, actually. People that I've never met in person. Heading down for the No Kings rally. Going to be doing some content down there. Test driving a bit more of Do Something. Looking to have conversations with people just to remind folks the importance of getting involved in democracy. This is not necessarily a party push. This is more of an activism push to get as many people involved as possible. So again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. And again, it is Free Speech Friday. So I think before we continue today, we should all pause just briefly for a moment and recognize this. If I only had my lighter. Okay, so here's the thing about this. We all saw it coming, right? Obviously, it was going to be a woman who's going to be the first to fall in the Trump administration. But it's really important that we call this particular moment out, right? So this was let me back up a second. Her losing her job, and by the way, she just got transferred to run SHIELD. So she's going to be like working with the Avengers now, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, she got fired. Let's be real. Obviously, the president couldn't fire her completely because that would look bad on him. And that's ultimately the reason that she got canned. It wasn't because more people have passed away in ICE custody under her watch than in any 1 year since ICE has been ICE. It's not because her agency was violating constitutional rights. Nope. It's not because her agency was locking up American citizens. Nope. It's not because children were being detained. Nope. It's not because people who were detained, the overwhelming majority of them, did not have criminal records and or a pending criminal charges. Nope. It's not that the facilities that people were being put in were just filth, squalor. It's not that she was, violating the rights of individuals by putting them on deportation flights. Nope. It's not because she was ignoring judges' orders. Nope. It's because she made the president look bad. It's not because she's banging Corey Lewandowski, who got moved as well. Not because of that. Not because of the affair. It's strictly because she made the president look bad. It's this famous moment that people will remember that was the end of Kristi Noem's career in politics.
You're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly, worked with OMB. Yes.
He did.
The president knew. Who?
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally just, I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot.
Sure does.
And and I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe, knowing the president as I do. That you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut, and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that. I don't think Russ Vogt at OMB would have agreed to that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something we have to defend. I'm on the Appropriations Committee.
That's right, you are.
I mean, my research shows that you did not bid them out, that you in fact, one of the people you picked, the strategy group, Safe America Media was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money. And
anyway, that's why she lost her job. Again, not because of all the indiscretions, not because of everything else that we went through, not because ICE is a barbaric institution under her watch. She got fired because it made the president look bad. Yeah. And we're going to talk about her replacement because, just remember this when we talk about his qualifications. The president told us that he only hires the best. Okay, that's good to know. I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that I knew that he only hired the best. Before we do that, we'll get back a little bit to, actually, let's do this now. Let's let Stephen Colbert give us his take on Kristi, on the life and times of Kristi Noem. Here you are, Mr. Colbert. Proceed.
Well, it is a rainy night here in New York. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about Kristi Noem getting fired. There she's out. She's gone. Her fault for standing so close to that gravel pit. It's too soon to know exactly why Kristi Noem is gone. Before we find out any more information about what happened, I just want to say with absolute certainty, she is a domestic terrorist who deserves to go to Gitmo. I'm sorry. I'm being told that is not true, but you know what? I acted on the information we had at the time. The news came as no surprise to Noem, or if it did, her face was incapable of showing it. Trump made the announcement, as usual on social media, first saying he was nominating a new head of DHS, then adding, the current secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. Sounds like someone's about to become the FIFA Secretary of Homeland Security. Well,
so there's that. Anywho, there's so many things I'd like to say, but we will shift gears to our general Friday topic about what's on your mind, because it is Free Speech Friday, and as you know, March is Women's History Month, and as part of that continuing series, every day this week, we're going to be focusing on a woman of history who perhaps many know, but many others don't. I'm trying to find some names that may not be front and center as we think about women who've made an incredible impact on all of our lives. Today, we're going to talk about Ida B. Wells. Ida Bell Wells Barnett, born July 16th, 1862, died March 25th, 1931, was an American investigative journalist, sociologist, educator, and early leader in the civil rights movement. She was one of the founders of the NAACP. Wells dedicated her career to combating prejudice and violence and advocating for African American equality, especially for women. Throughout the 1890s, Wells documented lynching of African Americans in the U.S. in articles and through pamphlets such as Southern Horrors, Lynch Law in all its phases, and the Red Record, which debunked the fallacy frequently voiced by whites at the time that all black lynching victims were guilty of crimes. Wells exposed the brutality of it and analyzed its sociology, arguing that whites used it to terrorize African Americans in the South because they represented economic and political competition and thus a threat of loss of power for whites. She aimed to demonstrate the truth about this violence and advocate for measures to stop it. Wells was born into slavery in Holly Springs, Mississippi. She was freed as an infant under the Emancipation Proclamation when Union Army troops captured Holly Springs. At the age of 14, she lost both her parents and her infant brother in the 1878 yellow fever epidemic. She got a job teaching and kept the rest of the family together with the help of her grandmother, later moving in with some of her siblings to Memphis, Tennessee. Soon, Wells co-owned and wrote for the Memphis Free Speech and Headlight newspaper, where her reporting covered incidents of racial segregation and inequality. Eventually, her investigative journalism was carried nationally in Black-owned newspapers, subjected to continued threats and criminal violence, including when a white mob destroyed her newspaper office and presses. Wells left Memphis for Chicago. She married Ferdinand Barnett in 1995, had a family, while continuing her work speaking and organizing for civil rights and the women's movement for the rest of her life. Ida B. Wells. Cool story. Fascinating woman. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. It is Free Speech Friday. The agenda is yours. Folks have a lot on their mind today. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. I do want to make sure that there's a few things that I want to cover before we get into it. We do need to talk about the potential replacement for Kristi Noem. It's Markwayne Mullin. In case you don't know, Markwayne Mullin is a senator from Oklahoma. Markwayne Mullin is, how do I say this? How do I say it? Markwayne Mullin, not the brightest bulb on the tree. So there was a moment that he was during the confirmation hearings of Linda McMahon, who was the Secretary of Education. There was this famous moment.
Senator Mullin.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Chair, what's the definition of insanity?
A sanity?
Of sanity or insanity?
Insanity.
Insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 19?
I'm sorry. What was we ranked in reading and math?
79.
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally in math and reading?
What was we ranked nationally in reading and math? How would we be ranked nationally? I'm sorry. One more time, Markwayne.
Insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979?
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally in math and reading in 1979?
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
We're number one in 1979.
No, we weren't. So what he's referring to, because Jesus Christ. Listen, all my Sooners out there, all my blue dots in OK, Oklahoma ranks dead last in education in our country. Not just education. I think there are numerous other statistics that Oklahoma ranks dead last, and I'm sorry about that. Listen, that's your boy. Okay, that's your boy. That's your boy. One more time.
Of sanity or insanity?
One more
Insanity.
time.
Insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979?
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally?
Even Linda McMahon's like, I'm sorry, what? What was that? They're words. I just don't know in what order they're put in.
In math and reading in 1979?
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
We're number one in 1979. Today.
Oh, 1979.
1979.
Okay.
In 1979, we were ranked number one around the world. Today, in reading, we are ranked 36th. In mathematics, we're ranked 28th.
Okay. First of all, none of that is true. So I was curious. So you guys know me, decided to kind of dig into that just a little bit. There was no formal Department of Education prior to 1979. So that's what he's referring to. So there was no standardized global measurement for reading, in his words, reading, writing, arithmetic. What was we ranked? There was none of that. It didn't exist. There were a fragmented series of tests. One, for example, was the first international mathematics study, or FIMS, which took place in 1964. It was conducted by the IEA, which is the International Association for the Evaluation of Educational Achievement. That was the only organization there was at the time. It was conducted by the IEA, tested 13-year-olds and final year secondary students, included 12 countries. Countries like Japan and Israel scored very high. This was the first large-scale international academic comparison ever conducted. So Markwayne, first of all, due respect to folks who've got names like his, but I think anybody that goes by Markwayne, Jim Bob, Billy Jack, you know, you kind of give the side eye, like, okay. But Markwayne, hi, I'm Markwayne. Okay. The second international mathematics study, which was SIMS, S-I-M-S, took place between 1980 and 1982. The fieldwork started around 1979, compared secondary school math achievement. Countries tested included Japan, the United States, Sweden, Netherlands, England, Belgium, Canada, Australia. Again, Japan and most European countries outperformed the US. So not number one there. Then we had the early science achievement studies in the 1970s. The IEA also ran science achievement comparisons during the 1970s, measuring physics, chemistry, biology. Again, Japan and Northern European countries tended to rank near the top, and the US ranked near the bottom. Rough global performance picture around 1979. Based on those early studies and later reconstruction by education teachers, the highest performing systems were Japan, the Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, England, and Canada. And the lowest ranked were the United States and Australia. So there's that. There was no single global education ranking in 1979, but there were early international academic comparisons, mainly mathematics and science studies conducted by the IEA, which laid the groundwork for today's global education rankings. Researchers have tried to reconstruct what a global education ranking would look like Researchers have tried to reconstruct what a global education ranking would look like prior to 1979's formation of a more standardized system. They would have studied literacy rates, secondary school completion, early international math science testing, more traditional IEA studies, university enrollment, and then government education investment. So in every single measure of those, the countries that performed the best were Japan, European countries, and more specifically, so we was not number one. No, we were not. Again, the countries that ranked high were Japan, countries in Europe, and in particular in Northern Europe. And countries that rank near the bottom always include the US. So for him to make that statement, and again, just to be very clear, I want to go back to this soundbite one more time, because this guy is about to be the potentially new Department of Homeland Security Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This guy.
Senator Mullin.
This guy.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Chair, what's the definition of insanity?
A sanity?
Of sanity
I
or
think I just got that. A sanity? What the fuck is a sanity? Okay.
insanity?
Insanity.
Insanity?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting
But
a different outcome.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979?
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally in math and
What was we ranked nationally? What are we comparing it to? Here's the thing, my guy. Here's the thing. If you wanted to do a national comparison, blue states are the ones that we rank highest. We be ranking the highest. Because blue states, guess what? Invest in their education. That's what we do. We invest. We invest in education. That's why the scores are so high. Because we decide it's going to be important. And we're gonna make our world better, our lives better, future generations better by investing. So you want to make the comparison nationally, then you can do that state by state. But if you're trying to say, what do we rank nationally compared to what?
in reading in 1979?
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
We're number one in 1979. Today.
Okay, no, we weren't. So that guy. So that guy's going to be the potentially the new DHS secretary. Well, there's a little bit more. So, hey, Scooby, you have an issue? Do you like the red? I'm not sure because you said you knew it, red nails. I invited you up. You wanted to talk about it. Do you like it? Because there are other colors. I could go get other colors. You know what I'll do for you, Scooby? I'll come up with a different color on Monday. You can come back and then you can critique in your frail masculine self. Okay? You have a day, boo. This is again Markwayne. Just a little bit more from Markwayne Mullin. Before the attack in Iran, there was a couple of defense committee members that started investing in Raytheon. One of those members happened to be Markwayne Mullin. In just 2 months, Gil Cisneros and Markwayne Mullin bought Raytheon stock. Cisneros sits on the House Armed Services Committee, and Mullin sits on the Senate Committee for Armed Services. Since then, the U.S. military has started military action in Iran. Raytheon has hit another all-time high. What if the best way to know what's going to happen is to watch what politicians are invested in? So Markwayne Mullin is a stock buyer. So he just happens to invest in Raytheon, a defense contractor. By the way, thank you, Mac. Appreciate you. Yeah, okay. I'm good, Scooby. The door's open, friend. Just make a request. So Markwayne Mullin investing in, again, Department of Homeland Security Secretary potentially, we'll see. Still got to have to go through Senate confirmation. Made some money. It's good to know. I'm so glad that he's just so ethical. Don't worry, I've got a few more. I've got a few more sound bites on Markwayne. Markwayne also is the guy who was sitting in a hearing with Bernie back when the Senate majority was held by Democrats because Bernie was chairing this committee. And Markwayne had a little confrontation with a guest, we'll call it.
Act and these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place.
Exactly, Chris.
You want to run your mouth? We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
No, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it.
Bernie.
If we can, no, I have the mic. I'm sorry.
You sit down. You're disrupting my hearing. I'm going to have to get out my extra mittens and make you sit. How dare you? You're a senator. We've got a guy here. If you want to throw down in the parking lot after the meeting is done. So,
This is
Hold
what he
it.
said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies.
And that's
I don't like you because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it. You have the mic. You have time.
All right.
Make your statement.
Then let's do this because I did challenge you and I accepted your challenge. And you went quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet.
Hold on.
You challenged me to a cage match, acting like a 12-year-old schoolyard bully.
Excuse me. Hold it. No, excuse me. I have the
I
mic.
will say exactly.
Senator Mullin, I have the mic. You have questions on any economic issues, anything that said, go for it.
That's right.
We're not here to talk about physical abuse. That's
You
right.
brought
We're not
him
talking
in.
about, of course I did.
And let me show you his hearing because I want to expose this thug to who he is.
Uh-huh.
And
If you don't point at me, that's disrespectful.
I don't care about respecting you at all. I
don't respect you at all.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to take both of you out behind the woodshed and I'm going to whack you with my crutch. Everybody shut the fuck up. Okay. So, don't worry. Don't you worry. Don't worry. I would never let you down. I've got a few more little nuggets from our boy, Markwayne. Here's one.
This is what we teach.
So which one is
But
better?
the reality
This?
is.
So do you think this is
Could
the
she
right
answer
thing?
the question, please?
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That is exactly.
I don't want reality. I don't want reality. Nope. I don't want reality. I just want what's on my mind. This guy's a former UFC fighter, FYI, in case you didn't know that. Yep, that's Markwayne. I think I've got some more nuggets from Markwayne. Like I said, you want to go by two names, you're gonna be subjected to scrutiny. So this is John Kennedy, who recently learned John Kennedy was part of the demise Kennedy was part of the demand, basically saying, well, my stars are Kristi. Knowing the president like I do, I can't believe that he would have authorized use of taxpayer dollars on. Sorry, I'm in my own little world now. And scene. Here you go. This is John Kennedy after learning of the potential nomination of Markwayne.
Senator Mullin being named DHS.
I didn't want to mention it before because it would have violated the confidence, but the president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet.
The president. When I talked to the president on Tuesday night, he was as mad as a murder hornet.
He asked me what I thought about Markwayne, and I said, A, I like him. B, very smart. C.
I'm sorry, he's very smart, John? Really? Did you really want to go there? He's really smart? What was we ranked nationally? I don't care about reality. I want to throw down in the Senate chamber in front of Bernie. He's really smart? Okay.
He's a very good businessman.
Look, I've known Markwayne now for a good amount of time.
Cory Booker.
It is not about the head of this agency. It is about what the agency is doing in our communities. And obviously there'll be hearings, and I think a lot of this should be brought out. But we have an agency that is out of control, and what they're doing in our communities, what they're doing to the Constitution, their reckless, continuous violation of court orders, even Republican-appointed judges, they are routinely violating those court orders. That makes this whole agency, to me, morally bankrupt.
So again, just keep in mind that she did not lose her job. Markwayne, the Mensa, Markwayne is likely going to be the new DHS secretary, not because Kristi was violating constitutional rights, not because people were being deported against the law, not because she was ignoring judges' orders, not because there was, the most deaths in 1 year in ICE detention since there was ICE, not because children were being detained, not because 75% of detainees didn't have a criminal record, not because Alex Preddy and Renee Good and Keith Porter and others were gunned down in cold blood. Nope. She didn't lose her job because of any of those things. She lost her job because she made orange dipshit, twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing frauds or convicted felon, name on a list predator racist, because she made him look bad. Cool. It's good to know. I think I have one more little Markwayne nugget for you. Is this the one? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one you picked to fight. Got that one covered. Got that one covered. Got that one. Played that one for you. There's a lot of them. Here, here's one more. This is again Markwayne actually just finding out recently about his potential new job. Here you go.
The opportunity, and we're going to do the best we can. We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me, you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
So, to me, this is pretty indicative of just, Trump and his games, right? Tokenize women, put them in leadership positions. Kristi Noem was never qualified to do this job. We all know that. There's no denying that. Neither is Pam Bondi. Just because she was the AG in Florida, she's just not competent. Absolutely incapable of doing her job. But it becomes this tokenization of women. So he does the experiment. He puts a woman in charge of this highly important role, one of the most important positions based on Trump's agenda regarding immigration, right? Puts her in charge. The agency is upside down. She's banging people on the jizz jet. She's got ad campaigns with her on horseback, and she's throwing the president under the bus. So what does he do? He replaces her with somebody who's even less capable and even less qualified, but he's manly. He's a UFC fighter. He walks around without his jacket on, flexing, threatening a Teamster head. By the way, if the Teamster head, Sean Ryan, I think it is, the Teamster would have thought fucking dirty. He would have put him, anyway, I don't want to go there. But that's who he replaces him with. That's who he replaces Kristi Noem with, this guy. Like, Okay. Okay, Markwayne. It's good to know. So glad you're looking out for us. And then here's the last little bit of sound I'll play from Markwayne, and we'll get back to the show.
That Noem has faced. Is there any learning lessons that you have picked up from Noem and the ways in which you want to lead the agency a little bit differently?
Kristi is a friend, and I haven't had time to call Kristi yet, and our Secretary Noem, and our families are friends. She was tasked to do a very difficult job, and I think she has performed the best she can do underneath the circumstances. Is there always lessons that can be learned?
That's the best she could do? God damn, if that was the best, that 1 year plus tenure, I hate to see what the fucking worst would look like.
Listen, my wife and I, we have, over the years, we have been fortunate enough to purchase companies and grow our companies, and every day there's something you can do better. And so I think there's an opportunity to build off successes, and there's also opportunities to build off things that maybe didn't go quite as planned. So
doesn't have a degree, made his money. Rich white kid. I think he's the only member of the Senate that does not have a degree. Doesn't make you any more or less qualified for something. But the point is he's now going to be running a federal agency as a cabinet secretary. That guy is. Okay. Good to know. We are in the upside down. Hey, I just wanted to let everybody know, hey, MAGA, in case you're here, I saw a lot of you chirping this morning. I want you to know that as of this morning, the national price for gas is, hang on a second. Hold on. $3.32 a gallon. Holy shit, MAGA. My goodness gracious. $3.32 a gallon? Man. That is up from yesterday, which was $3.25 a gallon. A week ago, it was $2.98 a gallon. A month ago, it was $2.90 a gallon. And even a year ago, it was $3.11 a gallon. Man, oh man. And diesel is $4.33 a gallon. Wow. That's crazy. National average, according to AAA, up 27 cents on the daily. Probably just a fake news, right? I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about before we get in. Well, we've got our show today. So as we know, Pam Bondi has been subpoenaed. We know that she'll be testifying at some point. If she doesn't, she'll be held in contempt. And if she doesn't show up then she should be thrown in jail. The problem is the Department of Justice would then investigate a ignoring of a congressional subpoena. It would be sent to the DOJ. It would have to be U.S. Marshals that would have to drag her away. I have a feeling that she might get fired before this happens anyway, so that Trump can put in another dude to try to protect him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've got some more files. So I've tried to do my best and not get into some of the graphic stuff, but this is a little heavy. So I'm going to offer a trigger warning now because we have to continue to tell these stories. So if you need to scroll away, you can scroll away. I found some reporting done by a group that I follow called the News Girls. They've been really on top of the story for a long time, and I've fact checked and double fact checked the things they've reported. And I would not share this unless I felt comfortable sharing this. So this is some of the information that was initially published by the DOJ. Then information was pulled down. Then they only put up excerpts. But now they've had to release more documents because, again, day 77 of the Department of Justice and the federal government under Donald Trump's watch breaking the law by not releasing everything. So, again, some trigger warnings here. I will play the sound because I think she summarizes it better than I could have. Here you go.
Really serious breaking news. The Department of Justice just released 3 interviews between the FBI and a woman who accused President Trump of sexually abusing her when she was 13 years old. We're going to go through what she said, but trigger warning, it is disturbing. So this is what the FBI wrote. Epstein took her off the island when she was between 13 to 15 years old. She was introduced to someone with money. It was Donald Trump. Apparently Epstein and Jane Doe were with others to include Trump in a very tall building with huge rooms. Then it says Trump did not like Jane Doe from the get-go. He didn't like that I was a boy-girl, referencing to the fact that she was a tomboy. And it seems like they were all in a room together, because then it says they all exited when Trump asked everyone to leave the room. This is really graphic.
Okay, so this portion is graphic. Again, we cannot let. I'm not afraid to tell this story and share this information. It's graphic, so if you need to scroll away, you can. I understand, but it's part of the cover up. And the reason that I feel like we need to speak about it is because legacy media is not covering this, so we will. So again, trigger warning.
Trump mentioned something to the effect of, "Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be." Trump unzipped his pants and put Jane Doe's head down to his penis. Jane Doe bit the shit out of it. Then it says Trump struck Jane Doe and said words to the effect of, "Get this little bitch the hell out of here." Jane Doe advised that she bit Trump's penis because he disgusted her. She said he had money and it reeked off of him. Then Jane Doe, after describing this very violent interaction, recalls a blonde, beautiful woman approaching her at some point the day after her interaction with Trump. The woman said, "Let me give you a tip, little girl, about your breasts. Wear a bra every night." And those words have stayed with her throughout the years. Then she describes some observations she's had about Trump and Epstein's relationship. So it says, Jane Doe got the feeling that the relationship between Epstein and Trump included a certain amount of jealousy. She thought Trump appeared jealous of Epstein, but at some point they ended up on level playing fields. Then this is really disturbing. Trump and Epstein sometimes used the terms fresh meat, untainted, and not jaded while referring to girls. And this was obviously a longer interview, but this part also stuck out to me. Epstein talked about blackmailing people in front of Jane Doe. Jane Doe was confident that Trump knew Epstein blackmailed people because she heard Epstein and Trump talking about it. Then it says Jane Doe stated she knew Trump had illegal building permits. She heard him, Trump, talking about washing money through casinos. And apparently number 6 is Donald Trump's favorite number. She wasn't sure how she knew that, but she had heard it at some point. Then Jane Doe stated that Epstein's blackmailing of her mother ruined my family. This was a really disturbing interview and pretty random of the Justice Department to just drop this on a random Thursday night. And just to really make the point, there was no indication of what the FBI's conclusion was from these interviews. We don't even know if they conducted an investigation after this.
Correct.
But what we do know is that this interview was conducted in 2019. There are more files that are expected to be dropped, so the newsgirls will be digging through.
So yeah, and again, this initially the information was connected to the conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell. So a lot of this witness testimony was deemed credible enough to convict her. So when we're talking about there was no credible evidence and or allegations made against the president connecting to many crimes, I don't know what else you need. If we're not going to investigate that, then what's the point? We will continue. We believe survivors. We believe women. We believe girls. We believe children. We're going to make sure that we're addressing this as much as we can. Again, I apologize if that was triggering for anybody, but it's difficult to not be able to cover. It's difficult to be able to cover the story without sometimes getting graphic. So I apologize if that was triggering, but I think you understand the point. What we need to try to do. So here's the part that I think is overwhelmingly bad. We got job numbers. I saw that. The fact that there is. How do I want to say this? We've said this before. An allegation is just that, right? An allegation is just that. The soft liberal cucks accept your apology. Okay, golf pool. You can request if you want, or you can just chirp in the chat if you feel angry today. This is. I'll stroke your head. I'll make you feel better. Anyway, the issue here is, like we've talked about, normalizing this shit, right? And the desensitization that happens when we hear these things. And for people who are still in the 10 toes down support of Trump camp, these are allegations. Now, I understand that they are allegations, but they should be investigated. He has not been exonerated. There's nothing here that exonerates him, right? There's nothing here that exonerates him. To be exonerated, you would have to go through trial. You'd have to go through investigations. The question that we all have is that if these allegations aren't enough to investigate someone, then what's the point? Which is why we discussed yesterday with Daniela about how, will people ever be held accountable for this? Will they ever see justice? I don't know. We'll continue to watch this story. I don't know what else to say otherwise. It's frustrating. Highly unlikely. How are you today?
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Anybody that knows LinkedIn knows my profile photo. Might get a chuckle out of that. Kristi Noem looking for work, open for work. February jobs report. Wall Street Journal just reporting the February jobs report, expecting a 50,000 job gain. MAGA, buckle up. Lost 92,000 jobs for the month of February. 92,000. Are you sick of winning yet?
Yep. Yeah, that's what happens. Payrolls fell 92,000 in February. January growth was revised down by another 4,000 to plus 126. In December, revision subtracted another 64,000 down to 17K. Unemployment rate upticked to 4.4%. There you go.
I can tell by the look on your face, which matches the look on my face, this look of shock, that that Trump's economy and his direction and his instruction is basically we're on a downward trend. And Pam Bondi has to pay attention to the fact that the Dow is no longer 50,000. I believe it's going to futures. I think we're down at least 250 points this morning, if my initial article is correct.
It's probably true.
And I just wanted to give you that. And I know you've probably seen it, but just to have it from a second source, me. That good luck, MAGA. This ain't going well. All right.
Thanks for jumping in today.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you. Have a good day.
You too, bro.
You got to be safe out there. Bye. Yeah, that's the report. Total non-farm payroll employment edged down by 92,000 in February, and the unemployment rate changed little, but is up slightly at 4.4%. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Employment in healthcare decreased, reflecting strike activity. Employment in information and federal government continued to trend down. So, what should we talk about in regards to the economy? So, the DHS secretary just lost their job. We know of the data, right? We know of the fact that they're locking up, American citizens, detaining people who don't have criminal records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're now in a war again, even though they don't want to call it a war. I know that there's been some reporting the internal struggle that members of the cabinet and his loyalists in D.C. they don't want to use the word war. They're trying desperately not to use it. They want to call it authorized use of military force. They want to call it, strikes. They don't want to use the word war. I don't give a fuck what you want to call it. We know what it is, right? We know what it is. We know that they are, that this is escalating. I think 17 countries are involved now. The economy is in shambles at home. But don't worry, you guys. Don't worry. The Trump family has enriched themselves to the tune of nearly $3 billion or more. They're going to be fine. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. They're going to be totally fine. Nothing to see here. There is reporting, since we're speaking of that briefly, Reuters. Remember how we talked about there was that tragedy where a girls' school was attacked. And of course, the statements from the White House has been the United States does not target civilian locations. Really? Okay. U.S. military investigators believe it is very likely that U.S. forces were responsible for a missile strike that hit a girls' school in Minab, Iran, killing many children. As many as 200 people total lost their lives in this one particular incident. A girls' school. Remember, we talked about this a bit yesterday. This is about a bloodline issue, in my opinion. Right? You cut the head off the snake, but the bloodline of the relations to Khamenei are obvious. So you eliminate the bloodline, right? That's your push. The assessment comes from 2 U.S. officials familiar with the investigation, but no final conclusion has yet been officially announced. The strike occurred during the first day of the war. Iranian authorities say over 160 people were killed, most of them schoolgirls aged roughly 7 to 12, making it one of the deadliest incidences of the war so far. The location of the strike is within the area of the U.S. where U.S. forces have been carrying out most of the southern Iran operations, while Israel has mainly focused on targets in the north. Investigators believe the school may have been hit during a strike aimed at a nearby Iranian military facility. U.S. officials say the military would never intentionally target a school. The Pentagon and Central Command are still reviewing evidence, including weapons fragments and targeting data. The UN and human rights groups have called for an investigation, emphasizing that schools and children are protected under international humanitarian law. An internal U.S. investigation indicates that the American forces likely caused the strike that destroyed the girls' school, but the inquiry is ongoing and the U.S. has not formally accepted responsibility. This, by the way, from Reuters. The incident has triggered global concern because of the large number of children unalived and the potential implications for the legality of the military campaign. War crimes, plain and simple. They won't own it. That's the biggest issue. We wouldn't do that. Of course you would. Good morning, brother. How are you?
Hey, looking mighty good in that color of yours. It's a very nice hoodie today.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
It should be an international war crime. You didn't tell everyone to bring extra towels in the live today.
Okay, fine. You're up in your game. All right, it's good to know. It's on now. It's on now. It is. He left and he ran. And you ran. Oh, dude. You ran. Okay. Got it. I'll remember that.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What is on your mind on Free Speech Friday?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I just saw some recent reporting that that attack on the girls' school was actually a double tap. Did you hear that?
I thought I heard something about that. Have you? Go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah. So my understanding is after the initial hit of the school, the staff, including the principal, moved the surviving children to a prayer hall, called the parents to have them come pick up their children, and they then hit the prayer hall and unalived more children at that second location. So I mean, as parents were walking to pick up their child, they were lost in a second attack.
Well, Michie, if we have,
and they're calling it a war crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say the United States, along with the Israeli military, have the most sophisticated weapons in the world, and if we can put a smart bomb down the chimney of the Ayatollah's house, right? Yeah. Then it would make sense that we would know exactly what we are shooting at, so to speak.
Yeah, you think we'd be a little bit more careful, huh?
You think? Yeah, those are war crimes. Yeah.
So yeah, so they are. This is, and someone needs to be held responsible for it.
I agree.
Especially because we care about the
crowd,
children.
Right?
Yeah, just because we care about the children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We sure do.
So
thank you for sharing that with us
really
today.
all.
I appreciate you, friend.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right,
I appreciate you. Have a safe day out there. Be safe. Bye. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, again, this is the fog of war, as they like to say, right? On that topic, I want to play a little bit of sound from I see everybody requesting. I'll try to get to you as much as I can, or as quickly as I can. So this was the defense secretary in a little whiny little bitch moment, because I refuse to call him the Secretary of War. I'll call him the assistant manager, the assistant to the assistant manager. This is how he got all up in his shit as loss of life happened.
Fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step.
That's interesting, Pete, that you would say something like that. That's kind of a wild take, I think. Well, he got kind of called out on it because this is Caitlin Collins kind of addressing this with Caroline Leavitt, that particular statement about how it only makes the president look bad when American lives are lost. Well, really? Okay. Well, it's not like we have a report on this before.
It's front page news about these 6 service members who were killed.
That's not what the secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not what the secretary meant, and you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not We've never had a Secretary of Defense who cares more.
Drones get through or tragic things happen. It's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad.
Yeah,
as you know, we cover the deaths
does,
of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a fact. Especially you.
What?
No, listen to me.
What?
Especially you and especially CNN.
Oh, God.
And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He
Really?
travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Chairman Kane, who's a brave patriot, standing alongside the secretary at the Pentagon this morning, again expressing his condolences to these families. And I just told you that the President of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
That's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
We expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. That is an objectable fact.
I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make the
If you're trying to argue right now that CNN's overwhelming coverage is not negative of President Donald Trump, I think the American people would tend to agree, and your ratings would tend to disagree with that as well.
So, as we've discussed a million times, and again, I know they have the smartest chat on TikTok because I heard the same thing. She referred to him as the Secretary of Defense in her little bullshit diatribe there. Here's the thing, Caitlin. Now, listen, I know that you are from New Hampshire, so I'll give you a bit of a pass. If you know, you know. If you don't like the coverage, then maybe your boss should stop acting like the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list, predator, racist that he is, right? With neck rot and whatever else. Caroline, what did I say? Did I say Caitlin? That's funny. Caroline, Triple K. Yeah, so maybe just acknowledge that. Maybe you don't like the fact that we always cover loss of life. Maybe you don't like the fact that the 6 service members to date have lost their life. Or are we not supposed to talk about it? Does that make the president look bad? Well, the fact that he's popping off thinking he can just fucking do whatever the hell he wants to do, violating the fucking rules of engagement, etc. Sad that 6 service members lost their lives, but isn't that the press's job to cover it? Anywho, Airwolf, how you doing, friend? Good morning. Welcome to Free Speech Friday. What's on your mind?
Good morning, sir. First of all, I want to start off to ask the soon-to-be DHS head if you can actually spell his first name. I mean, it's 2 first names with a lot of letters combined. He might forget the E.
That's a good point.
Might forget the Y.
That's a good point. That's a good point. How does we spell my names?
How does he spells my name? Yes. I'd like to, if you don't mind, Steve, I'd like to throw another name out since we're talking about women's history. Since my sister works at a museum in Morristown, New Jersey, you might know where I'm going with this. Now that we have a prominent man in Republican circles and in the White House trying to remove women's right to vote, I'd like to throw out Alice K. Stokes. Alice Paul, actually, she's known as Alice Paul, 1885 to 1977. She was violently beaten. She took part in the Silent Sentinels. She was a prominent leader. Matter of fact, she was arguably one of the first leaders of the women's suffrage movement. You can learn more about that if you want to visit the museum down in Morristown, New Jersey. She died penniless, but she literally started the women's rights to vote and other circles. So if you want to learn about Alice Paul, please do. Now that we have that out of the way, I just want to highlight our precise military functions under this guy who literally says dudes in dresses and travels around with a tanning salon. He tried to take credit, and it pissed me off. Tried to take credit for torpedoing a boat and said, yeah, this boat was in combat situations in international waters. That boat was just trying to get home. Those people were participating in a display. I believe it was in India. I believe it was. It wasn't a combat vessel. It wasn't going to go and strike the United States and rain hell. No, it was just trying to get home. And our Secretary of, I don't know, is it war? Is it defense now? I'm confused. Steve, are you confused too?
Assistant manager in training. That's kind of how I see him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
on a good day.
Okay, when he's trying not to get fired, and then when he's trying to get fired. I'm just, I don't understand what I'm supposed to believe here in the United States. I used to believe that when I was trained in the military, we had what we call core values and, you know, all that good stuff and service before self. I'm looking at a dude on TV literally championing the loss of life. Let me remind anybody, war does not make you great. Okay. There's nothing about war that is winning. Okay. I don't understand this. And yes, I understand I'm a military man, but I'm going to tell you right now, taking life does not something, you don't go around championing and jumping up and down and trying to do fake pull-ups, which I'm still waiting for him to do one pull-up. I'm still waiting for him to do it.
Seriously, I got a bad shoulder and a bad back, and I can do better pull-ups than he can.
But I mean, this is not good. If this is confirmed that we did, you know, boom, boom, a school and we unalive children, I better hear every one of you pro-life, whatever you want to call yourselves, make them have the babies, take their rights away from the women. You better be up in Trump's face and you better smile when doing it, since Trump doesn't apparently like women that smile. You better be up there and say, hey, you better wave your little MAGA fingers and be all mad. You better do something if it's confirmed. I better see you up there. And I'm going to let Steve get back to his show. I appreciate what you're doing. Great job every day.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Thank you for your service. He brings up a great point, right? I mean, well, it's the same point, right? We belabor this, how they just going to continue. Oh, thank you. How we're just going to continue. That's cool. Appreciate you. Thank you. How they're just going to continue to move the goalpost, right? You can't move the goalpost anymore on gas prices because they're up 27 cents a gallon nationally in just a couple of days. You can't talk about the no new wars. You can try to pivot around it as much as you want, but 6 service members have lost their life. We know that to be true. We know that the economy continues to shred jobs. 92,000 in February. Constant revisions down, right? So we've been telling you this, right? Don't worry, we'll fix it because we always do. We discussed yesterday the clear choice that it's progress, which would be whomever the Democrat is, or it's the continuation of fascism. The economic policies of the Trump administration are not working. They're being held to account to pay back the tariff money, and they're resisting doing it. Of course they are, because they can't admit that they're wrong. So instead, what they're going to try to do is just continue to double down and gaslight. You're going to continue to see the president post propaganda on Truth Social. He's going to continue to tell his voters that we have the biggest economy, the most booming economy, the greatest economy ever. Based on what? For him, sure. And for the rich people, sure. And for people hedging on the stock market collapse, sure. Don't forget Howard Nutlick's company, Cantor Fitzgerald, made money on the Supreme Court overturning the tariffs, right? We now know that he's going to have to testify. I don't know if he'll have to answer questions about that. Hopefully he will. He should. We now know that there's more financial connections, potentially connections to money laundering of his connections, Lutnick's connections to Russia. Shocker. I'm still working on that story. I was hoping to have it more today. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more on Monday. Right? Stop hating because you're not rich. Okay, Miss Luscious, that's fine. Whatever you say. It's kind of a weird take. Don't care about being rich. Isaac, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Steve. I just want to say I appreciate what you do, and I just want to leave everybody with some words from my first sergeant in the Marine Corps. Today's Friday, I believe. I could be wrong. My days are so messed up with everything going on. We used to get Liberty briefs where we would have freedom on the weekends. He would tell us, take care of each other, take care of each other, take care of each other. And that was it. So that's my words to everyone in this community. Today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, going forward, take care of each other, take care of each other, take care of each other. And I appreciate what you guys do, and I love everyone here.
Well said, Isaac. Thank you, friend, for being here. I appreciate that. Great advice. Great advice, because it's us, guys, right? It's if it's not us, then who? If it's not now, then when? And here's the thing about it. The loyal Trump supporters will be out there today. They'll try to find a way to pivot around this. They'll try to excuse away gas prices. They'll say it's temporary. They'll say it's necessary. They'll say that Trump's playing 4D checkers. Let them say it. Just let him say it. And then just remind yourself as you tap into your own humanity that you want them to have health care. And you want them to have better access to better education. And you want them to be able to buy a home. And you want the social safety net in case things go bad. And you want the women in their lives to have bodily autonomy. And you want members of their communities who may be trans or may be part of the LGBTQI community to have their rights preserved or protected. Just keep that in mind, right? It's a winning argument. It's a winning argument. They're going to spew their hatred. They're going to do everything they can because they're now stuck. Remember the conversation again that we had with Daniela yesterday about we're seeing the end here. This is like the end game. The question is, how do we respond? We can't say, I'm glad that's over. If you want to change things, like if you want a systematic and systemic change to the way in which we do business, so to speak, then you got to be invested. It's part of the Do Something tour as we're hitting the road, reminding people to, let me back up a second. My goal is to be as agnostic as possible when I go into conservative areas, right? I can't go in there and say, hey, I need you all to vote Democrat. That's my goal. Obviously, I want people to vote for progressives. My goal is to have conversations with people, but more importantly, to listen to people, right? That's the goal. The goal is to remind folks what's at stake. The goal is to say, look, if we want to fix things, then you got to make sure you're voting for the right things, not for the person. Get rid of the R, get rid of the D, get rid of the blue, get rid of the red, get rid of the Democrat, get rid of the Republican, and just ask yourself what you want. That's it. Just ask yourself what you want. That's it. It shouldn't be that hard. Just ask yourself how you want to proceed. Good morning. How are you?
Feelings matter. What's up, buddy?
Do you want to have a conversation, man? Or do you want to try?
Yeah,
you said
absolutely.
you were hold on a second. Hold on a second. You spammed all caps, and then you come in and then you say feelings matter. That wouldn't be somebody who wants to have a conversation. If you want to just start with insults, then what's the point? Prove your worth. Prove you're worthy of feelings. Prove you're worthy of my space. Prove you're worthy of my space.
Feelings. I've listened to you, and I'm going to point out the feelings that you've done so far.
Prove you're worthy of my space.
Can I?
Sure.
Can I?
I'm ready.
Can I speak?
Got it. Totally ready. Jesus Christ. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that much of a stretch. You want to approach a conversation that way? Sorry, no. Mr. Logic, how are you today?
Hey, good morning, Steve. Happy Friday, Free Speech Friday.
Same to you.
Women's History Month. Want to talk about my personal hero. I've worked in the IT field for 34 years now, and my inspiration for everything was Grace Hopper. Grace Hopper was a Rear Admiral in the United States Navy during World War II.
Can you get a little bit closer to your mic so we can hear? Can you get a little closer to your mic so we can hear you a little bit better? Just a little.
How's that? Is that better?
That's worse.
Okay. How about now?
Do you have Bluetooth on or on the speaker?
Yeah,
something to that effect?
Hold on, let's do that.
That's better. I can tell already.
Echo chamber room. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's better. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I had to go stand in a corner, so if you want to snicker at that. Grace Hopper is who I was saying for Women's History Month. Grace Hopper is my personal hero, 33 years in the IT field, and she was my inspiration back in the 90s when I first read a book about her. She was a Rear Admiral in the Navy during 1992, was one of the lead engineers on the ENIAC computer system, which is a predecessor to the internet, to the ARPANET, and she is responsible for the COBOL programming language as well, back in the 40s and 50s when women weren't making big strides in that type of area. So if you get a chance, read about her. She's just absolutely delightful and wonderful as a human being, too.
I appreciate you, Fred, for jumping in today.
No worries. Have a great.
Sorry, just a bad echo, bro. Yeah, all month long, every day we do a show. We'll be honoring we'll be honoring women from history. Just to address a comment. Listen, we've worked hard to cultivate this particular space. I think I've proven in here that I'm willing to talk to anybody. But if your entire game is to try to come in and just come up with your bullshit because you can't have a conversation, then I'm not interested. Now, friend, if you wanted to request again and act like an adult, then I might consider having a conversation with you. Hi, Steve. You look great in that hoodie, Hector. I'll remember that. I'd like to have a conversation with you. There's a few things that you said that I don't agree with. Can we have a conversation about that? Absolutely. Absolutely we can. No problem. Hang on one second. All right. Some can, Q. We've proven that. I hope Mike is in here today. Mike and Debbie, if you're in here, we love you very, very much. Everybody keep tapping, please. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. If you want to support the channel, you can do it a couple different ways. But again, by engaging, joining our team, there's a gifting goal today. Also, if you want to help support us as we head out on the road, which will be the Do Something tour. I'm going to call it the Feelings Still Matter tour, apparently. That's fine. No problem. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning from Florida. I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. I'm so sick of winter. I'm done. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. I am also done with winter, my friend, but supposedly we're getting 60 degrees this weekend.
Don't say that too loud.
Fingers crossed. Listen, I don't know if everyone hasn't seen it yet or not, but Moskowitz did an in memoriam for Kristi Noem. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Beautiful.
Also, you think Markwayne knew that Corey wasn't coming with the Jizz Jet? Because I think that was one of the things that really attracted him to it.
Potentially, you know, I mean, I hopefully gonna, I hope that if the jet does get transferred to somebody else's ownership, they do a thorough cleaning. You know, they got to take the black light out, make sure they check in the corners.
Exactly,
make sure they're checking the pillowcases. You know, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly.
So that's got to happen.
But, you know, well, the thing that worries me is how often, I mean, yeah, there are people with two first names that are already, you know, you got Tommy Lee Jones, you got Stevie Ray Vaughan, you got Harry Dean Stanton, but then you also got John Wayne Gacy, James Earl Ray, Lee Harvey Oswald. So, you know, the two first name things always worries me.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. Doesn't always end well.
Yeah. By the way, it's Sean O'Brien, not Sean Ryan. He was my.
That's right. Sean
he was
O'Brien.
the head of my local before he became head of the international. So I know Sean. I know his brother very well. So, but
have a feeling that you don't want to mess with an Irish guy from Boston.
No, not really. But listen, I thought of something, and I was thinking of you because this is perfect. Because you and I always tell people how horrid New Hampshire is, and here's a perfect example how bad New Hampshire is. So for years, the symbol of New Hampshire was the old man of the mountain. Okay, that was their symbol. A rock was their symbol. New Hampshire's so bad.
Just for a little context, if you drove by Franconia Notch and you looked up into the hillside, you could see the profile of the man of the mountain. Right. It made their coins. It made signage. So just for those of you who don't know, that's what Chris is talking about. Go ahead.
But the point is, he got so sick of New Hampshire, he just said, that's it, and he jumped off his mountain.
It's true. So, it fell down. It fell off the side of the mountain. That is so true. That is so true.
So who do you have next on the bingo card? Do you have Pam Blondie next?
If I had made I have a feeling Bondi's going to stay. She may be one of the last to go.
Yeah.
Just because she has been so loyal protecting him during the release of the files. Potentially, we'll see. Well, I guess it depends if she shows up and testifies. Who knows?
It could be. I mean, it could be depending how his not war goes. Could be Kate's breath.
Yeah, could be. Well, again, no, he's too alpha. He's too alpha for Trump.
Yeah, that's true. He's very alpha. But the whole point is, this is the most incompetent administration ever. And I mean, they kept the theme going with Markwayne. I thought he was going to do his gazintas to show, Linda McMahon how smart he was.
That's true. Four goes into 8 twice. Good point, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right, pal. Listen, have a good weekend. Enjoy the hopefully warm weather.
You too, man. Have a good day. See you later. Take care, dude. Guy, appreciate you. Jess, I saw that. That's a great idea for future FAD. We just have an amazing idea. We're not going to share it now, but I freaking love that idea. Okay, everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Free Speech Friday. Randar, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Nothing I was liking, I didn't request, but it's another beautiful day in San Jose, Costa Rica.
Oof. I love San Jose, Costa Rica. Love it.
Yeah,
so thanks for.
I do too. I
Yeah,
moved here in 2017 to avoid the
Well, I appreciate you.
Trumpism.
Well, that's good for you to be able to do that. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to go back to the incident earlier. Again, I'm not afraid to have conversations, but why should I give you my space? If you had literally just requested and say, I disagree with some of the things you say, and I'd be like, great, what are they? What are they? So try again, friend. Try again. What is this? This is a statement from the president just earlier this morning on True Social.
There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leader, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. MEGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
What? What? I'm processing. President of the United States, who has gone on the record numerous times, initially about how no more intervention, no more wars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've got Islamophobia that just runs rampant on the right in particular. And his base is now going to be buying MEGA merch? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wild. Joshy, how are you this morning?
Hey, Steve, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Look, you said free speech, I guess, open mind, but what's on my mind right now, dude, is the fact that every time I go to the gas station.
You got really bad background noise, bro. Like, it's really bad.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'll come back another time. I don't want to be disrespectful to you.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. I think I see Alicia. He did sound like he was underwater. That was wild. Alicia, good morning. How are you today?
I'm surviving. That's just my state of mind. It's always a pleasure to see you, though.
Thank you.
I love your green sweatshirt and your red nails. But no.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Appreciate that.
So I'm not sure if you received the news about what happened where, hi Jordan, where Marcos is in Florence, Arizona, of what happened on Monday there.
I didn't catch the first part about the school, or what are we discussing?
Where Marcos is in Florence, Arizona, in detainment.
Oh, I did not see that update. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia. Go ahead. Yeah, my apologies. I was thinking about something else. Go ahead.
Okay, so on Monday, when Marcos got back from court, there was a delay of him being processed back in, which made it so it was about 2 hours later. What that happened was when they arrived into the processing area to be brought back from court, there was a Haitian gentleman on the floor in medical distress. Marcos heard them pick up the gentleman and say, "Where are we going to put it?" And they loaded the gentleman up into a van. They kind of brushed it off to the other detainees and said that the man had had a medical emergency because he had taken drugs. And we kind of just let it go because, that's part of life for them, for detainees. Well, I got a call a couple days ago, and I found out that the Haitian gentleman from Massachusetts, perished. And we found out yesterday morning that he perished because he had a toothache, and it went to sepsis, and it was left untreated from the conditions that they are suffering there. This is highly concerning for me. Marcos has had the same issue since February 5th, his intake. February 9th, his face is swollen. He's gone and had rashes on his foot that we've discussed before. Water isn't safe to drink there, so his nourishment isn't there. He's not getting the food that he needs. When we buy water, it's $1.25 for 4 ounces and capped off at 18. We had to put in an emergency thing for medical treatment from his lawyer yesterday to urge for that, because they were telling him that they wouldn't do anything for 90 days. Seeming a gentleman already perished from the same thing and the conditions, that's highly scary. We don't go back to court until March 16th. We're still waiting for the habeas decision, but I've had to wait for an InfoPass scheduling, which means I have to wait for a tier 2 person to call me back within 10 days, and then I can make an appointment for 30 days to go in and ask for expedite. So this is extremely hard to know that your loved one is in danger and not getting the medical care and is at risk, and that the only things that I could be doing is documenting the stages up to that. So that's what has happened there, and we're just trying to hold on and get some answers.
Yeah, Alicia, I remember meeting you on Jess's Live, and we've spoken a couple of times. And it's every time I hear your story, it's just gut wrenching, and it's just a reminder to people again what it is that we're all fighting for. We should not know each other. We shouldn't know each other. I'm glad we do. We'll do the best that we can to try to continue to make sure we push this story out so that you and your family, your voices are heard, and potentially you could be representative of other families who are also in the same position. Your bravery and your courage to tell your story publicly like this is something that you should just take tremendous pride in. And I know it may not feel like that, but it's an honor to host a space for you. I think I asked you this the last time. What can we do for you at this moment? Anything?
If you could share his story out, I have links in the bio. We, where the food quality is so bad and it was making him sick and have gastric, we have rooted it back that it's definitely 100% the water if it's something like potatoes or something. So now, even though he's lost over 20 pounds already, since he was taken on January 20th and he's still there, I'm paying over $150 now with his phone just to get his proof of life and for his meals now because we've had to go just for that. It's just everything is increasing. The time is forever that we're missing him. But there's so many. Marcos was a lawyer. He still has that mindset that he wants to help people even though he's in this circumstances. So each day that he calls me, like, his roommate's been there for 3 years. We need more people to look into these cases that don't have representation, that are just being trapped in the system. There's people that nobody is advocating for. And you need to have people go into our jails. We need to fight for our officials to get in there, to check these circumstances, to make them accountable, to make it transparent of what is going on. Not just one place that they want you to see to cover their butts. Go in there and purge those jails. Make them see that they need to be in there. They need to be checking because we need to have humanity. We need to have due process. And figure out why our money isn't going into the courts and the judges, why the people that have self-deported are still here, that they're keeping trapped in these systems. Why are they bringing in that? Start asking tons of questions. Start doing tons of research. Start probing to your local people. That's what is going to be the voice for those that it's been stolen from, that don't have anybody to advocate from. They need all of us to be their light in the darkness.
I would agree. Thank you again, Alicia, for sharing your story. And please, if you feel inclined to do so, you're welcome to come back anytime, provide us with updates. We got you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alicia. Bye. Okay. So I'll read this story. This is reported by the AP. This came out this morning. Serious medical and mental health emergencies have been routine at the nation's largest U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's detention facilities since its opening, according to records obtained by the AP. Data and recordings from more than 100 911 calls at Camp East, Montana and El Paso, along with interviews and court filings, offer a disturbing portrait of overcrowding, medical neglect, malnutrition, and emotional distress. Current and former detainees describe a camp where about 3,000 people have lived per day in loud and unsanitary quarters. They say detainees struggle to obtain health care as disease spreads, lose weight because of a lack of food, and fear security guards known to use force to put down disturbances. Quote, every day felt like a week, every week felt like a month, every month felt like a year, said Owen Ramsing, a former property manager in Columbia, Missouri, who spent several weeks in the camp before his deportation in February to the Netherlands. Camp East, Montana was 1,000% worse than a prison. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson who did not provide their name rejected claims of subprime conditions, saying Camp East, Montana detainees receive food, water, and medical treatment in a facility that is regularly cleaned. Here are some takeaways from AP's reporting. After its opening in mid-August, staff at the camp made After its opening in mid-August, staff at the camp made nearly one 911 call per day in its first 5 months of operation, according to data covering 130 calls from the city of El Paso obtained by the AP. In one call, a man is heard sobbing after being assaulted by another detainee. In another, a doctor says a man is banging his head against the wall while expressing suicidal thoughts. And a third, a nurse says a pregnant woman is in severe pain and has coronavirus. The injured detainees range from a 19-year-old man who fell out of a bunk to a 79-year-old man struggling to breathe. At least 20 emergencies were reported as seizures, including some that resulted in serious head trauma. The call showed detainees have repeatedly tried to harm themselves and expressed suicidal thoughts. 2 incidences have resulted in passing. On January the 3rd, ICE said security guards responded after a 55-year-old Cuban man tried to harm himself and then used handcuffs and forced to restrain him. A medical examiner ruled that Geraldo Lunes Campos' death was by homicide caused by asphyxia. On January the 14th, staff reported that a 36-year-old Nicaraguan man took his own life days after he was detained while working in Minnesota. In addition to those cases, at least 6 other self-unaliving attempts were reported, according to reports by the city of El Paso. The DHS spokesperson said the facility's staff closely monitors at-risk detainees and provides mental health treatment. The Washington Post reported in September that a required ICE inspection found conditions at the facility violated at least 60 federal standards for immigration, but that report was never released. Unlike dozens of other inspections at facilities posted on ICE's website, DHS has called claims of violations described in the Post story false without explaining why the inspection report was wrong. ICE's current database on detention facilities indicates that Camp East, Montana has never been inspected, but is scheduled for one this fiscal year. A DHS spokesperson said ICE's Office of Detention Oversight recently completed an inspection at Camp East, Montana, but provided no other information, and the results have not been made public. Again, I'll remind you that Kristi Noem did not lose her job because of this. She lost her job because she made the president look bad. Yeah. Yep. That's what happened. Hey, Drew.
Hey, good morning, Steve. You know, I'm getting to the point I'm wondering where the I did the stickers with Trump's face on it are at the gas pumps, because they were pretty prevalent the last 4 years. with someone else's.
They sure were.
I'm kind of noticing
They
the absence,
sure were.
especially here in South Carolina, where they were pretty much everywhere I went. But speaking of South Carolina, if you'll bear with me a moment, I wanted to give you a few stats real quick on South Carolina. Okay?
Sure.
Currently ranked around 42nd in education, ranked 44th in the best states to live, 40th in overall best states, 46th in safety. We're in the top 10 to 15 states with the highest crime rates, 21% higher than the national average for violent crimes. Unemployment rate is 4.8%. By the way, there's a new jobs report out. Get your mods on that. They need to get that information for you. It does not look good.
We shared it already, but yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. I might have missed it while I was on my call this morning. Homelessness has been going up. It's increased about 13, 15%, something like that in the last couple of years. And right now we have 990 of the 1,100 measles cases that have been reported so far in 2026. What would you guess the South Carolina House of Representatives is focused on right now? What would your guess be? What's their priority? What are they voting on?
10 commandments in schools.
That is one of the things. That's right. And that's already actually been passed by, I think, the House, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, you are correct on that. But there is another thing they voted on just yesterday. They want to name a highway after someone. Can you guess who they want to name the highway after?
Lindsey Graham.
No. Mr. CK.
The president.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mr. CK.
Well.
Okay, and it passed 71, I think, to 33. Only 2 Republicans voted against it. Of course, every single Democrat voted against it. 75 to 31, excuse me, I had that wrong. If you happen to look around and see videos, the Democrats, and it was led by our Democrats of color, that went up there and read quotes directly from CK on the floor, the House floor. They read quotes, and they stood there and said, "Listen, if you vote for this, you're basically telling us this is what you think of us." It didn't matter. Didn't make any dent. Didn't cause any emotional response from the other side. Obviously, it still has to pass the Senate, but this is South Carolina. I don't see that it's going to have any problems. That same stretch, they were also attempted to name, and you guessed correctly I think you were correct the first time. They also wanted to name it after Trump because they were hoping that would push him to kind of give them the $2 billion they need to get this highway done. Because, if you want to get anything done, you have to kiss the orange ass. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed that's where we're at right now. That's what we're doing, not instead of facing the real issues that we have. I'll get back with you on that bond issue I told you about with the school. Voting is next Tuesday. I have the day off, so I'm going to get over there and get my vote in. But I just wanted to let you know that's where we're at, buddy.
I appreciate that, Drew. Thanks for joining us today. Keep us updated.
No problem.
Be safe out there. Thanks for doing the work. Take care. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is like end of days for MAGA Republicans. So I think what they're trying to do is do as much as they can. And keep in mind, these things can be changed, right? You still think your vote doesn't matter, right? These things can be changed. Buildings can be renamed. Monuments can be torn down. Airports can be renamed. Highways can be renamed. All these kinds of things. Keep that in mind. But to get there, right, we have to be willing to adjust our mindset. This is clearly a harm reduction election. Clearly. And again, voting is not enough, but it's something that we all must do. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning there, buddy. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
All right, good. Yeah, this is what I eat breakfast across the street from every day. That's, we can't call them news, but, Fox, whatever. I'm waiting for Brian Kilmeade to come in because he comes into this place that I eat in the morning. I am waiting for him. I saw him come across the street once. I am waiting for that fucking guy to come over so I can ask him about houseless people and his idea for them. Anyway, I just wanted to say, like, it's just, I think we all need a mental health weekend, man. I know I do. Just anybody listening to me, I know this is stressful shit, but let's just try to do something this weekend that we enjoy, that's just fun for us in our own little world, outside of all this fucking bullshit. And just, it's too much, man. I'm stressing out, dude. I had mentioned to you the other day, like, it fucked me up when we did the Iran thing. So I think we all need to kind of take a step back sometimes. And I got a friend visiting in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that visit. And I think we should try to just do one thing for ourselves this weekend. And thank you for what you do, Steve. It's a great show. And I hope people are pitching in for your tour, because it's a worthwhile cause.
I appreciate you, Tom. I agree. That's great advice. We have to, if we cannot find little moments of joy, then what's the point?
Yeah, just one, man. Right. Have a great weekend, dude. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Right. You got it, man. Take care. I appreciate Tom very much. Tom's kind enough to help support us when we head to New York City, which is great. So yeah. Appreciate you. It's really good advice, right? It's really good advice. Again, there's things we have to talk about here. Obviously, this is what we do around here, but there's always, we got to be able to, joy is resistance. Exactly. Took the words out of my mouth. There's always something for us to do, right? I think I'm just going to briefly just take a little pause there and just, I want to just, for those of you who've not heard the pitch for Do Something, I'm going to just take a moment right now to kind of do that. Because I just want to remind people what it is that we're doing. Had a great conversation with someone yesterday who's going to help us logistically. Pieces are coming together. Just as a little reminder, going to be doing some closer, I'm not going to say stay-at-home events, but events where it's going to be a little bit easier for me to travel. And then eventually the tour itself will kick off in the fall. I'll be attending events all summer long. This is really getting there. It's, again, had no idea that this was going to be what it's become, but I am honored, and it's going to be me using my privilege and going wherever I can. So just briefly, I want to start with something honest. A lot of people in this country are tired, not just busy tired. I mean, soul tired, to Tom's point. Tired of working hard and still feeling like they're falling behind. Tired of watching the news and feeling powerless. Tired of hearing promises every election season and then watching nothing change. If you've ever felt like your vote doesn't matter, like your voice doesn't count, I want you to know something. You're not alone, and you're not wrong for feeling that way. Because when you feel ignored long enough, you stop believing anyone is listening. And when you stop believing anyone is listening, you stop showing up. So one thing I've learned in my life, that the moment that good people stop showing up is the moment the wrong people take over the room. That's why we're doing the Do Something tour. Not because I think I have the answers, not because I am here to tell anyone what to think, but because I believe we're losing something precious in this country, and that's our faith in each other. I'm going to travel the country, sit down with as many people as I can, people who feel forgotten, people who feel dismissed, people who feel like the system is built for someone else. And I'm going to listen. I want to hear what broke your trust. I want to hear what you've lived through. I want to hear what you wish the people in power actually understood about your life. Because the truth is, democracy isn't a speech. It's not a slogan. It's not something that happens once every 4 years. Democracy is people. It's us. It's parents trying to keep their kids safe. It's workers trying to keep food on the table. It's communities trying to stay whole. It's people who don't want to be a headline. They just want to be okay. And I know this. If we want change, we can't just hope for it. We have to participate in it. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to know every issue, and I'm not asking you to trust politicians. I'm asking you to trust your own worth and your own value. To remember that your voice matters, even if it's been ignored. To remember that your vote matters, even if it felt like it hasn't. And to remember that your presence matters, because this country belongs to you too. So this is the invitation. Come back in, not because the system deserves you, but because your community does, your kids do, your future does. This is the Do Something tour. And if you ever felt powerless, I want you to hear me clearly. You still have the power. So let's all be sure that we're doing something together. Thank you, friends. Appreciate that. All right. Again, for more information on the Do Something tour, please check out the Instagram page. You'll find the link in the link tree in my bio. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, as we march towards our goal of 25K. All right. Got a few other folks in the box that have been requesting. I'll try to bring up some people. Everybody keep tapping, please. Thanks, Dano. I appreciate that.
Hey, how's it going?
Good morning, King. How are you today?
Doing pretty good.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. So I've been kind of like looking into a lot of different things. Are you familiar with the World Economic Forum and the Trilateral Commission?
I'm familiar with the WF. Yeah, WEF. What's your point?
Well, my point is, I've been, give me a moment.
You're on mute, friend. King. You're on mute. Can't hear you when your microphone is muted. Going once. Going twice. Okay. If you want to request again, you can come on back up. It's not a problem. Good morning, Kim. How are you today?
I thought you couldn't see the golf ball. Well, that's what I mean. But
Kim?
Hi, Kim. Kim? It's all green and fine.
Kim?
But when I'm looking for...
Okay. These things happen. It is Free Speech Friday, I must say. There's a couple other things I want to talk about. Again, progressive in your pocket. The results that we saw in Texas the other night are extremely important because of the amount of Democrats that showed up. And it's bigger than just that, though, because there's been reporting that's come out recently about what's happened in elections across the country, special elections, down ballot elections, primary races. So there's reporting from the AP that 27 seats have flipped from Republican to Democrat since Trump took office, and 0 seats have flipped from Democrat to Republican. That obviously doesn't mean that Democrats have won every election. It just means 27 seats have flipped. So there is momentum. I go back to the initial government shutdown, and I never ever want to be the person that says, hey, I told you so, but I told you so. So people were really angry at some of the Senate Democrats who sided with Republicans to reopen the government. I told you how important that was politically because it put the onus squarely on Republicans to fix the healthcare situation. And they didn't, and they haven't, and they won't. It's shown a bright light on it, right? Now, again, we can hand wring all we want to, but it was effective. The question then becomes, what do we do with that momentum? Because there's little districts here and there, little stories about voter turnout, little elections that were outside of the possibility of a Democrat winning. And not only did they win it, but they fucking showed up in droves. So in 2017 to 2018, Democrats overperformed in special elections before winning the House in 2018. Similar overperformance trends are being observed again in the current cycle. This is reported by Reuters. Democrats gained seats when the flips occurred, and Republicans have gained none. Republican voters are not showing up for their candidates. That should tell you a lot. So Chris Hayes did a interesting breakdown on that particular topic. Let me see if I can find it for you. Hang on a sec. There was a state, I think I have it here. Hang on. I put it. I'm sorry, guys. A little bit disorganized today. Free Speech Friday always gets to me because there's so much I want to cover and I never get to it all. Hang on one second. Let me just check real quick. I've got you. Just give me a second. I have to go back and reinvent my spreadsheet. Sorry, Obi, if you're in here. I don't want you to shift in your chair. It has to do with one of a strategy by some House Democrats to try to help influence their standing, I should say, politically, but it didn't work out for them. And I'll play you the reason why in just a second as I can find it. What I'm doing right now is vamping because I don't have at the ready what I need until now. Now I do. This happened in North Carolina. Here you go.
Big story you might have missed on Tuesday night, which was primary election night in 3 states, Arkansas, Texas, North Carolina. And you might not have seen what happened in North Carolina, but it's fascinating. North Carolina is a peculiar state. They've got a popular Democratic governor in Josh Stein, but thanks to very intense gerrymandering, Republicans have dominated the state legislature since 2010, and they've passed increasingly far-right legislation that Democratic Governor Josh Stein has vetoed. Well, last year, Republicans managed to override many of those vetoes, but only because they were supported by the votes of just a few lone Democrats in the state legislature. Last night, 3 of those Democrats who sided with Republicans in key legislative fights faced primary challengers from the left, from frustrated Democrats who said, stop collaborating with Republicans, and the incumbents didn't just lose, they got absolutely shellacked.
Smoked.
Representative Carla Cunningham from Charlotte, for example, cast the sole Democratic vote to override Stein's veto of a Republican bill that forces local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE. In a speech before that vote in July, she said, quote, all cultures are not equal. Cunningham lost her primary to an angry constituent by nearly 50 points.
50. 5-0. The incumbent lost by 50 points.
Nassif Majid has represented Mecklenburg for 7 years, but last July, when Governor Stein vetoed an Republican anti-trans bill that he called mean-spirited, Majid was the lone House Democrat to vote to override the veto. Well, last night, the 4-term lawmaker lost his primary to Valeria Levy, a nonprofit administrator, by more than 40 points.
40 points.
And then there's Shelley Willingham of Rocky Mount. When Governor Stein vetoed a Republican bill to let private school teachers carry concealed guns on campus, Republicans needed just one Democrat to help them override it. They got it from Shelley Willingham. Last night, Willingham lost his bid for a 7th term to a self-identified mom and minister by 12 points. All this suggests there is some real restiveness in the Democratic base about collaborating with Republicans in assault on democracy right now. If I were a Democratic office holder, I would definitely make sure I familiarize myself with what happened in North Carolina last night.
It's the reason that I want every single incumbent primaried. I don't care how popular you are. Seriously. I don't care how popular you are. I don't care how great your policies are. I want every single candidate, Democrat, Republican, Independent, irrelevant to me. I want them all primaried. This is what happens. North Carolina fucking showed up. They said, listen, just because your name, just because of this, you've been siding with these people. Are you a wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak? Right? And they showed up and they turned out. Well, there's more good news too. There's a creator like in this app. You probably know, Oh, That's Rich. Love his stuff. He's connected to a bunch of other people who I really admire. He does great content all the time. And Texas again. Texas. Do you understand the moment in history? You've got an opportunity. You've got an opportunity to remove Republicans from majorities in the House and the Senate for generations to come if you show up. So this is what Rich had to say.
But you need to hear it. Lost in the headlines around Iran, Pam Bondi, and Kristi Noem getting eviscerated on Capitol Hill, and all the other chaos swirling around the predator blob, was a number of articles analyzing the behavior of Hispanic voters in the Texas primaries. And this is a thread I've sown through about a dozen videos over the last year, going back to where Texas Republicans first redrew their congressional maps based on the Hispanic vote for Trump in 2024. I've maintained that this is going to backfire on them, because they drew their districts based on the assumption that any district Trump won by at least 10 points would be safe enough to water down, even though Trump wouldn't be on the ballot again. So then now what did we learn on Tuesday? First, in Cameron County, which is near the very tip of South Texas, which is home to almost 500,000 Texans and 85% of them are Hispanic, Trump won in 2024 with a 6-point margin. But on Tuesday, 3 times as many voters voted in the Democratic primary as the Republican primary, with a full 71% of all voters who voted on Tuesday taking a Democratic ballot. And it's not just the party split, because James Tallarico won that county with a 2-to-1 margin, receiving over 20,000 votes just in the primary, which is almost 4 times as many as John Cornyn and almost 5 times as many as Ken Paxton. Maybe even crazier, in that county, James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett got about 60% of the votes that Kamala Harris got in that county in 2024. Needless to say, it is not normal for a Senate primary in a non-presidential cycle to come anywhere close to the result of an actual presidential election. But that's what we're seeing, and in fact, in 5 other Hispanic majority counties in South Texas, Tallarico and Crockett combined for more votes than Kamala Harris got in 2024 per county. Some of those very counties are counties that Donald Trump won, but Ted Cruz lost on the same ballot, proving that in 2024, Donald Trump's coattails were about as long as his damp little fingers. Now they're gone entirely, leaving a massive opportunity for someone like Tallarico to exploit. This is not
Texas voters, Crockett voters in particular. I just want to take a moment to have a chat with you, right? I hope you can see the opportunity here, because ultimately it's going to come down to a really simple choice for you, right? I want you to mourn, like we've been talking about this all week. Absolutely, I'm disappointed too. Would have loved, absolutely loved to have had to have Jasmine Crockett in the Senate. Would have loved it. But if you turn out for James Tallarico on the general election, like you turned out from Jasmine Crockett, he will be in the United States Senate. It's going to be Tallarico versus either John Cornyn, who is wildly unpopular and will do whatever Trump tells him to do, or it's going to be Ken Paxton, who is a fucking bona fide criminal, who's done everything he can to suppress the vote of marginalized communities, in particular the black community in Texas. It should be a simple choice for you. It should be one of the easiest votes you've ever made. Jasmine endorsed Tallarico, said that she would campaign for him, said that she would use resources that she has to help get him elected. Can you take that as permission, if you need it, to vote for him? Because if people show up in November, he will be the next senator from the great state of Texas. So I hope that message sinks in. I really do. We're that close to a massive change. The Maquis, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Can you hear me?
Good. I can. What's on your mind?
Well, I voted as a lifelong and native Texan. I voted for Tallarico because I know the constituents here, and I do not believe they are quite ready for Jasmine. I would have loved to have her there, but I think if we can get Tallarico into the Senate, this gives us an opportunity for Jasmine Crockett in 2 years to get Ted Cruz out. And then we have them both.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I think that might have been, I think that potentially part of her strategy, especially since Ted Cruz's name is now being mentioned as a potential Supreme Court justice. So that might be an empty seat or an open seat. I would not be surprised if that was her plan, to be honest.
Because that would be, I mean, if anybody can unseat Cruz, it would be Jasmine. She would shellac him.
I'd like to think
debate.
so. I would, yeah. I mean, Ted Cruz should not be underestimated. You know, he's a pretty smart guy, but I would agree. I mean, I would love to watch that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, a pretty smart guy that knows nothing about the country we're bombing. But anyways,
that's true. Good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you, Maquis.
Have a great day.
A lot. You too. Yeah. I mean, that could be. I mean, that's. I've thought about that in hindsight. Like, was that maybe her strategy? Like, you know, I want to test the waters on a statewide bid for the Senate and see, first of all, how the fundraising went, you know, what kind of campaign operation she had, where were the gaps. Then you can look at exit polling and say, okay, we need to pick up voters here. We need to pick up voters there. Again, is her campaign, and is she at the head of her campaign? Is she willing to play the long game? I would not be surprised by that, to be honest. So just imagine, if you will, think ahead, right? You put Cornyn in this, or you put Cornyn out of business, and you put Tallarico in his seat, and then in 2 years, you've got Jasmine Crockett running against Cruz potentially, and then she becomes a U.S. senator, and then Texas is represented by James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. You could arguably say two of the best senators potentially that we could ever have, representing a state that used to be blue. Ann Richards, don't forget, it wasn't even that long ago. 20 years ago, Texas goes blue, friends, and it's game over for the modern day Republican Party. It is game over. There's just not enough electoral votes for them to win. So this is how important this election is. I hope you can see it. I hope you can understand that. Please, when the time comes, do the right thing. Good morning, Sammy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So the one thing that I worry about with Tallarico, or even if it was Crockett winning the primary, is you are already starting, like I was doom scrolling through TikTok lives, and a lot of the Republican lives are already starting to push, oh, why were there so many more votes for the Senate race than the governor's race in the primary? Like they're already starting to push that narrative of potentially interference.
Let them do it. Who cares? They're going to do it anyway. Doesn't matter. Let them do it. Just ignore it.
I swear, I don't understand people.
Just ignore it. Seriously. I mean, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. Just ignore it.
Thanks for that, Facts. Absolutely love your stream.
Appreciate that. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Seriously, friends, this is the game. Remember, the SAVE Act has got nothing to do with election integrity. Nothing to do with it. Heritage Foundation did a study going back 20 plus years, 30 plus years, 40 plus years. 2 billion votes cast. 10 were cast by undocumented immigrants. That would be 10. Of the 2 billion votes, not 10 million, not 10,000, or when my son was little, not 100,000, 10. This is not about election integrity. This is about voter suppression. I'll say this every single day until the midterms if necessary. Queens, they are afraid of you. They are terrified of women voting. They are absolutely so fucking scared. Give them a reason to be. Please. It is so close. We're so close to making to really making a dent and starting to kind of reshape our country under a matriarchy in my dream, but slowly trying to recover from this shit because people are finally paying attention. So please, please, please keep that in mind. Top of mind. Heather, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm less angry today, so that's good. I mean, I'm still always angry, right? But I don't feel like I need to rant. Something I wanted to point out with that gentleman that came up here, and he said that he voted for Tallarico because he just felt like the people around him were not ready to have Jasmine Crockett. And I just want to say he should really think about that because he didn't look at how Jasmine Crockett would be beneficial to him. He just looked at how Tallarico...
Heather, you've got a really bad connection, friend. I'm going to drop you. You can request to come up again if you want to. The audio was just really bad, Heather. Yeah, so just want to let you know. Yeah, I picked up on that as well. It's in the past though, right? We can't go back. We can't run the election again. We're here, right? We're here now, and we should be moving forward. That should be the goal. Okay. Hopefully your audio is better.
Is that better?
That's better. Yes.
Okay. All right. I dropped and I closed the app and everything. Okay. So, and I agree with you completely that this is where we are here now. But I just think going forward, people need to think about when they're choosing their candidate, they need to choose what's going to be best for them, not necessarily what the people around you are going to do. That's all I wanted to say about that, because I just think, I mean, if I lived in Texas, I would be voting for Jazz. I would have voted for her. So I just, and instead of thinking about like, oh, well, more people like Tallarico versus or whatever, or whoever the candidate is. Like, I'm here in Ohio. So, I'm going to be voting for Amy Acton. She's running for governor against Vivek. I'm going to, I don't think, because my senator is Bernie Moreno, so I can't vote for Sherrod Brown. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with Bernie. Lane Moreno.
What do you mean you can't vote for Sherrod
I don't
Brown?
think he's in my district. He's running for the Senate, though, Heather. Oh,
It's
okay.
a statewide
Yeah.
election.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Sometimes it's early for me, or late, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, so
that's good.
I'll be obviously voting for Sherrod Brown and for Amy Acton. So hopefully everyone knows that those are our two people that we really need to be focusing on and championing behind. You're right. It didn't make sense. Sorry. I always forget that the Senate is a statewide election. Sorry,
you're good,
guys.
You're good. No, you're good. That's a winnable seat too, I think, because I know Sherrod Brown is very popular in Ohio. And we're seeing the anti-Republican, anti-GOP, anti-MAGA, anti-Trump coalition really showing up. So vote for Sherrod Brown.
Yeah. Sherrod Brown, Amy Acton, and that's the only thing I wanted to say. And because I know Amy Acton, she's had to kind of go a little bit more towards the middle, but we have to remember that this is a very red and gerrymandered state. And I know that in the Senate and the governor, it's a statewide, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But she does have to make some concessions because there are so many MAGA people out here. Ohio is very MAGA. It just is. I mean, for 4 years, I had a neighbor with a MAGA sign up. Like, it just, so it is. It's very, so we just gotta go out there. We gotta phone bang for her. We gotta do what we can because it is about harm reduction. But that's it. I'll drop now. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you. I just want to pick up on something that she said. I don't vote. I'm asking you, friends, to not vote for yourself. I don't think that's what Heather meant, but don't vote for yourself. You got to make a decision to vote for other people because other people have been voting for you. And I go back to Black women a lot in these conversations because it's necessary because I've learned so much because they've been voting for us, the collective us, the palm-colored us, right? So we have to, in kind, vote for them, right? We have to make sure that we are voting, we, the collective, are voting for the collective. That we have to remind ourselves that this is not about you and me, it's about everyone. So when we talk about things in terms of harm reduction, that's what this means, right? I'm a cis white hetero male in America. The only box I don't check is Christian. I'll be good. I'll be totally fine no matter what happens. But others won't. So we have to shift the focus saying, this is the best candidate for me. I understand that, but it's got to be what's the best candidate for everyone. This is where we have the purity test on the left, right? If it's not perfect, and I'm hoping that by the time we have enough of these conversations, you're going to be so sick of me saying it, but whatever, that's fine. I'm happy about that. I'm glad you're going to be sick of me saying it. We have to think about harm reduction. Maybe it's a tattoo across your forehead, whatever that might be. Maybe it's something, a Post-it note that you put on your mirror every day. Maybe it's something you put a magnet on your fridge. Who am I voting for? Not the candidate, but who? It's other people. This is a harm reduction moment. And I want to break down the Senate just real quick, right? It's 53-47 currently. So it's gonna be a heavy lift. But there is some internal polling. Actually, I'm gonna play that now, and then I'll finish the story because I think it's really, really interesting. We see the polling that is really bad for the administration, and it's beyond just like, the polling that we see either by Harry Entman or by Steve Kornacki. When you start to look at internal polls are just that. They're polls that the candidates and the campaigns get that they don't generally share publicly. Because the reason that internal polls are important is because they know they can really get into the finite details. It's less about the broad brushstroke of polling 10,000 people. I'm going to play this sound for you. This is because I think this is fascinating, and this is the entire point that we're talking about.
Republican polling is actually worse in most cases than the public polling about the president. 3 new polls out in the last 24 hours or so about the president's approval rating, remarkably consistent. This is a new CNN poll out this morning. The president's approval rating now is 36% amongst all adults. That's adults, it's not voters, it's not registered voters, but 36%. Okay, here is ARG out this morning, same thing. 36% of Americans, again, this is adult Americans, say they approve of the president, 36%. Finally, the Washington Post poll that came out yesterday, 39% approval. As John McCain used to say, the president's pretty much down to close relatives and paid staff who approve of the job he's doing. Finally, from the CNN poll, Manu Raju did a smart thing. He pulled out his president's approval rating amongst independents. The president's approval rating with independents was 43% a year ago. It's fallen from 43 down to 35 to 31, toggled up to 32, 28, 29, 26% amongst independents.
Game over.
And again, even the president's most loyal defenders would tell you, if his approval rating amongst independents is 26% when the midterms approach, it will be a bloodbath. And in fact, just this morning, the DCCC announced that they're going after some incumbent House Republicans in districts that Trump won by double digits. This is what everybody assumed couldn't happen, that they couldn't play in those districts, but they are going to try now. And again, Republicans who are honest, who have polling data, will tell you this is not some Democratic fantasy. They might mock it publicly, but privately, this is where we are.
26% amongst independents. That's a game over number. So let me go back to the Senate for just a second. Remember, it's 53-47. So we don't know what's going to happen with Markwayne. States have, generally speaking, the governor appoints the replacement for the senator. So let's assume going into the midterms, we're at 53-47. The states that I'm keeping an eye on, right, are Maine with Susan Collins and Grant Plattner. He's running ahead of her. He's raising money. I look at North Carolina. That's Roy Cooper, incredibly popular. I look at Ohio, potentially, because of Sherrod Brown getting into the race. It's always hard to defeat an incumbent. We know that. I look at Alaska with Mary Peltola running. Again, very popular. She won the at-large House seat. So she's now running in a statewide election. And then I look at Texas, right? Those states are the ones that pop into my head that I think are states that are in play. So here's the scenario. Let's assume, for the purpose of this conversation, let's make some assumptions. All right. Roy Cooper wins North Carolina, that Grant Plattner wins Maine, and that Mary Peltola wins Alaska. Assume then the Democrats hold all the seats that they currently have, because polling tells you that they're actually ahead, right? That means that's 50-50. I'm sorry, that's 50 for the Dem. It's 49-49. Let me do the math on that for a second. Hang on a second. It's 53-47. If those three seats go, right, and it becomes a tie, you have to get 51, because as it sits now, the J.D. Vance could break the tie. This could, in theory, come down to Texas, because if it's 49-50 or 50-49, if you flip that seat in Texas, then Democrats have the majority in the Senate, 51-49. This could really come down to Texas. Do you want to be on the side of history that said, I didn't get my candidate, so I didn't show up? Or do you want to be on the side of history that says, I didn't get my candidate, but I proudly voted for James Tallarico because I know what's at stake, including the Supreme Court? There's other states that are potentially in play. The Republican Party is hemorrhaging. They are having to defend seats. The fact that the president was in Texas, and speaking of Texas, by the way, I don't know if you heard this. We discussed Tony Gonzalez recently. Tony Gonzalez is the gentleman who had an extramarital affair. That affair led to the end of his marriage and the end of the person who he had an affair with, the end of her marriage. She ended up taking her own life. And then there was questions about Tony Gonzalez's future in Congress. He ran for re-election on Tuesday night. He lost he didn't lose. He has to go to a runoff. Well, coincidentally enough, he makes this announcement yesterday. At 18, I swore an oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. During my 20 years in the military and 3 terms in Congress, I have fought for that cause with the absolute dedication to the country that I love. From overcoming the border crisis to taking a stand with my communities after the worst school shooting in Texas's history, my philosophy has never changed. Do as much as you can and always fight for the greater good. After deep reflection and with the support of my loving family, I have decided to not seek re-election while serving out the rest of this Congress with the same commitment. I've always had to my district. Through the rest of my term, I will continue fighting for my constituents, for whom I am eternally grateful. So he's resigning from Congress. Pretty fucking shady to do it after, right? And you did that because Mike Johnson needs your vote. Now, will he remain in Congress? I don't know. There's going to be an ethics investigation. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for her to resign. If he resigns, then that's an open seat. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I do find it very, very, very interesting. Very interesting that he waited until right after the primary to make that announcement. Anyway, good morning, Ollie. It's Ollie's mom. How are you today?
I'm well. Happy Friday. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, I have a question and a comment. The question is,
ask away.
Your do something speech that I always look forward to hearing you say all the way through. Do you have that, just the speech, in a video anywhere? Like a shareable, like YouTube video or anything?
Actually, you're like the fourth or fifth person that's mentioned that. I think I might try to get that produced so that it becomes like, and I'm not really good at that. In case you didn't know, tech is not necessarily my strong suit. Mods, be nice. But I think I should probably do that. I think what I might do is turn that into something. I might have it produced. Yeah.
Especially like on YouTube, for me, it'd be easier for me to share with people. Like, not everyone I know is on TikTok. So not everyone I know is using TikTok. So YouTube would be a great place for it. But, okay. And my comment is just short. I just want you to know, you know what your reach is. You have a very responsive community. I just want to let you know that you are heard, whether you're speaking to a friend or an opposition. Your words speak to me, and so much of what you say just speaks to me, and just thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. You've been here for a long time supporting what we do here, so thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate you.
All right.
Have a good day. Be safe out there. All right, you too. Bye. Thank you, guys. This is all of us, though, right? This is going to take all of us. I really, really do. This is, sure, I feel very privileged to be able to do this, for sure. There's no doubt about it. I feel very privileged to be able to do this. So I like the idea that many, many people have mentioned that. Maybe I can just read it. I see it kind of like as a narration, right? Where there's some images of the countryside, people. Maybe I could contact Kristi Noem's agency and maybe they can produce it for me. That'd be kind of nice. Anyway, but thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. Good morning, my dude. How are you?
Yo, and shit.
Yeah, yo, and shit.
So the previous guest brought something up, and can I remind you that you have several people who have done voiceover work in your community, and it doesn't have to be your voice. It just has to be your words.
Interesting idea.
So you don't have to worry about producing it, right? There are people in this community that can record it for you. There are people that could come up with imagery for you. So maybe let the village handle this. I'm just saying.
Good idea. Good idea.
And here's the deal. Whoever wins the contest, because now we're going to make it a contest, I've decided. I will donate $100 of Facts merch to the winner.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea. I love that. We'll turn it into something. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Shit should be organic. Hey, by the way,
yeah.
Because, I'm older than you still. Fuck.
Always.
Just never seems to end. Have you ever thought about people you went to high school with, and then
I have,
and then sometimes on social media you see a name and you're like, "Fuck, that name's like super familiar," and then you look at the face and you're like, "I got nothing."
Well, I can honestly say that I am still incredibly tight with about 20 of my high school friends. We talk often.
Oh, of course you're that guy.
I know that yeah. So did you see Jess's comment, by the way, Obi? She said, yeah, back in 500 BC. Yeah, that's about right. Our music is still better. I don't know what to tell you.
Whoa! Who? What was that? I'm sorry. I'm walking the dog here. I'm walking the dog here.
It's just Jess throwing shade because she's jealous. She's not Gen X. I'm throwing that out there.
Listen,
that's what it is. It's jealousy and envy.
Okay. Okay. Hey, listen. Gen X for the win. Here, now, and fucking always. We are that generation. You know why?
We are.
Everybody wants to be us, but no one had to suffer like us. So, suck it.
That's true. I mean, Grace Slick was not telling you to come home at 10 o'clock on a Friday
Bro.
night. Let's put it that way.
Dude, do you know where your children are? I was thinking about that
scary.
As my dad brought it up, who's 85 years old. And he remembers the commercial, right? And I just literally was just up there and I got to hang out with him for a little bit. And he says, you know what the truth is? We really didn't care where you were because we knew you were going to come home.
It's true.
Right?
That's a good point.
It was a different era, right? Yeah, he knew I was out doing shit I probably shouldn't be doing, but he also knew that if I was told to be home at 11, my ass was home at 11.
Absolutely. Like whose parents smoked, whose parents had Crown Royal.
Bro.
We would all gather, we'd all cough on the filterless Pall Malls, sitting down in the quarry or whatever, but yeah.
My dad called those Pall Malls, which is what he used to smoke, coffin nails.
What? Yep, that's true. That would be a coffin nail for sure. I like your idea. I'm gonna process that a little bit.
Yeah, you go ahead and be you and do it. But I just like to come and stir the pot on a Friday. So
I appreciate you, brother. You're a good man.
Hey, listen, I will talk to you later. And
yes, you will.
That was a good talk yesterday.
Yes, it was.
So hopefully one of these days.
In other words, I'm not just a pretty face. I do have skills beyond just this.
Bro, people don't understand. I wonder if people really think when I say that you do work for me, that they understand that you actually do work for me and my company, right? It's not just me up here fucking fluffing your pillow. Although,
no, that'd be fine too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey now.
I'm just saying. Thank you, my dude. You're good, man.
I love you. Think on it, and I'll talk to you in a couple hours.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye. I like that idea. I really like that idea. I like the speech. Actually, I've got another one too that I haven't really finished yet, but I will. I'll share that too. I'll share that too. Checking in from Europe. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening. Sure.
Hi. Well, it's afternoon. Hi, Steve. How are you?
How's it going?
Well, everything's good. It's sunny here. It's around 4 PM, and I just really enjoyed talking to you and listening.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate that. I think that welcome to Free Speech Friday. You've always been very kind to let me share your space, so I figured obviously we'd return the favor. One of the things I really like about your space, Sanjay, is that you'll invite folks from, we always joke about how it's not a normal Sanjay live because her lives are always very calm until the Americans show up and they start yelling and screaming at each other. And then you're like, I have little tolerance for that today, so time out. But I thought it'd be great to get your perspective a bit on things. And people are always looking for a hope. People are always looking for, a brighter future. And I know you're a researcher by nature. So what's on your mind today for Free Speech?
Well, I have a lot of things going, and I appreciate you letting me up here and having a bit of a conversation. We usually call that the American level 12, You guys, you can be loud. That's our kind of thing. Well, honestly, I wanted to come up here and just like say hi. And as you were saying, we talked about this and talked about having this conversation and wanting to let in on the European perspective. I'm 32 years old, to anyone who doesn't know me. I'm from Denmark. And I do these lives because I feel that it is very, very important that we have conversations across the Atlantic, that we share whatever we feel is necessary, and we share our feelings, and we remember that we can stand together across the globe, even though the world is tough right now. So, yeah.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think that one of the things that you try to do, that we try to do here, is to try to educate folks. You know, your part of the world is significantly more mature, literally and figuratively speaking. You know, we're still a young country, and there's still things that our country has never experienced. We've never really experienced anything like this before on our shores.
No.
Europe is used to Europe is more accustomed to these kinds of things. You know, bad apples, bad actors, regimes, and et cetera. So, you know, the perspective that you have on our country as you look in is what these days.
Yes. Oh, I know exactly what you're thinking about. So on my lives, we usually have this very calm way of talking to each other, but I usually call Europe for Mama Europe. So basically, and look at the world a bit like a family. We are Mama Europe. The US is our teenager who is trying to find their way in the world, as all teenagers do. You're around 250 years old. And if you look at Europe and all the European countries, around the age where they were around 250 years old, all countries in Europe, you saw that was where we were all creating new systems. So if you look through history, around that age, like 250, 300 years old, that is where we will change how we act as a democracy, as a lot of people. So Germany wasn't even a country back when the rest of Europe was around 250 years old. If you look at England, or the UK, they changed their whole system around 250 years old. Same in Denmark. We had so many issues, people rising against the state. And I just honestly wanted to say, like, from the European perspectives, like, we still believe in the US in many ways. We still see that you guys like are fighting, and there is a lot of horrible things happening in the US, and we see them, and especially through this app, I've seen that you guys are really fighting. You guys are trying your best. You guys are really trying to make a difference, especially in this space. And I just like kind of wanted to say that, like, we've seen it before. We have seen it here, and we understand it's really freaking tough to go through, but it could also be a very good outcome. You're testing your democracy. It hasn't been tested in this way before. It hasn't been pushed and dragged out in the way that it is right now. And I really hope and wish that if you continue to do these kind of conversations and to fight for your democracy, that you will end up a better place.
We don't have a neighbor that we fight with sticks with. I just want to throw that out there. If you know, you know. You bring up a really interesting point, and I think this is a positive, potentially a hopeful, because I'm always going to choose to see the glass half full. That's just how I operate in my life. You're right. The system's never been tested like this before, and for any democracy to function, it requires ethical people with integrity, people with honesty. 100,000 feet honesty. Not that we don't all have our little indiscretions here and there, but our system has never been tested like this before, because we've made some assumptions that people in the positions of power would act with integrity, would act with sincerity, would act with ethics, right? So I think the opportunity here is to remind people of how fragile our system is. And if we want to fix the system, you've got to let the scab heal, so to speak, right?
And actually,
go ahead.
On that note, I did a little note before our conversations here. I wrote down that the United States is one of the most ambitious political experiments on human history. It's a huge country. You're a huge country. You're 1 million people, many cultures. You are, for me as a cultural anthropologist, you are an amazing construct. Like the USA is an amazing construct. You're trying to create a new culture within many cultures and like consisting of so much. And you're trying to govern yourself. You're building a democracy. And honestly, it's like an experiment. And they get messy, you know? Experiments are messy. So yeah, I just felt like that fit into our conversation here.
So when people, because obviously there's so many things to fix, but I always view the strength of our country. What a unique feature of being American is that wherever you come from, you become /American, Italian American, African American, Asian American, Jewish American, Mexican American. That is a distinct feature that exists nowhere else on earth.
True.
So by definition, because of those sort of qualifiers, our diversity is our strength. It should be. It's always been our strength. The melting pot of America has always been the strength. So when you see observing in and you start to see like, why are they fighting over diversity? It's what makes America so unique. What does Denmark say about that? And why are you fighting against your strength? Ultimately, right?
Yeah, well, ultimately, yes. That is what, like, I have grown up with believing that the US was an amazing country. Amazing. I looked up to you. I wanted to move there. Like, it was beautiful. I think our main perspective on that is it's sad. I feel that you guys always say, like, we've heard a lot, like, America is the best country in the world. We've heard that before. We don't hear it as much from this side anymore. But I think that what people are forgetting in the US right now is what makes you great. Like, what is the actual foundation of the US? Like, what was the purpose of your country? What was it? And that was like a place where people could be free. And what is freedom? Freedom is free to have your own culture. Freedom is being able to express yourself, is being able to live your life as you want. And that's not happening right now in the US. That's not from our perspective, at least. You know, I am an outsider. I'm trying not to speak as much on, but as I see it from the outside.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that I took away, and I've referenced this a lot when I was in one of your spaces one time, talking about how your Constitution, for the most part, tends to look at society, the collective, like your rights are about the betterment of society, and our Constitution is about individual rights and freedoms, which I think gets in the mind of people when they start talking about, well, I vote for me. Like, I care about my wallet. I care about my family. And your government just functions differently.
It does.
Can you unpack that a little bit for people? So for people who don't understand what I'm talking about, maybe you can explain a little bit of how your Constitution supports your entire society and not just the individual. If that makes sense. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Well, it is kind of like the whole also social democracy. What's that? Like welfare state. That's kind of where we're going into, right? So basically, I believe that Denmark is a collective. The Nordic model. This is what we're talking about. This is the model of the Nordics. This is how it functions in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland. These are the Nordic countries. Scandinavia is without Finland, just an FYI for everyone. But we believe like freedom for us is the freedom for all to be equal. Like freedom is safety, freedom is security, and that is what our constitution is based on. It is based on the welfare of the collective and not the individual. So whenever you guys say freedom, it's very much, as far as I've understood, it's, as you said, very much about freedom from the state, that nobody will interfere in your life. Where in Europe and many European countries, it's the freedom to be safe. That is what we believe is freedom. Freedom, security, safety. Someone's looking out for you. Someone's got your back. So we are still a capitalistic society. We're not a social, like it's not socialism. It's capitalism, but with social democracy. So it's the system behind. We still have a lot of businesses. We are driving massive businesses in Denmark. We have Lego, you all know that. We have the company that made Ozempic insulin called Novo Nordisk. So we do quite a lot of industry as well. But the system of the country is so that if you lose your job, you will be safe. You will get paid for it. You will be in a safe position to live on your life, and you're not going to go lose your home. And that's how our constitution is built. But for us, the constitution is not first. Our society is first. The collective is first. And it's the trust. It's the trust that your neighbor will help you. That's basically, what our idea is.
It just seems so simple. It's just a prioritization. And that's why I often refer to the Nordic model from an education perspective, from a social safety net perspective, because it just seems like you prioritize the things. Now, no system is perfect. We all know, we can all talk about that. It requires, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Can I just found, I wrote down some facts here. A fun fact, actually,
please
about the European social democracy is that United States actually inspired part of it. So after World War II, the Marshall Plan and American economic ideas actually helped rebuild Europe in the way that it is right now. So it's actually like the whole idea of stable middle-class societies came from the US and after World War II. So you actually inspired that.
Isn't that amazing? And that kind of goes back to like the rhetoric that we hear here. Like if people, like we talk about standardized healthcare, universal healthcare, the Medicare for all model. So Bernie Sanders has the model that I desire, Sanjay. If you've never looked into it, you should check out Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all model, because that's the one that I would really like. And that becomes communism here or socialism here. And I know that, like, again, no system is perfect. So how would you describe, let me see if I want to ask this question. Obviously, to have these social programs requires citizens of your country to perhaps pay a bit more in taxes, but you don't have to worry about the overhead connected to all the out-of-pocket costs in America when we don't get the things that we should. So people are afraid of that. Understandably so, and I think people just don't understand it because there's an educational opportunity there, right? So how would you explain to people in the simplest terms, what nationalized healthcare would look like?
In the simplest terms, I think, okay, I think I need to go to taxes a little bit, and then I will go to the healthcare after, because
go for it.
It all starts with the taxes. It all starts with the tax system. So basically, I think we pay less in tax than you think we do in the US. We pay a lot less. The numbers that your news and the government and people who are against healthcare are using is not the true numbers. So it is not the most of us that pay 50% in tax or more than 50% of tax. That is, first of all, not true. Those are the top earners who pay it above a certain income threshold, right? So that's the first thing, yeah. So, but when it comes to universal healthcare, so basically it's a system that is controlled by what we call regions. And if I need to go to the doctor, just very simplified, I feel ill, I need to go to the doctor. I would go to my local practitioner, right? I could go to my local practitioner tomorrow, tell them, hey, I'm not feeling well, and they will look into it, ask me questions, of course. And if there is something more that I need to have looked at, I would be like led to the other areas, right? This will be absolutely free. I can do it with no money out of pocket. There is no extra cost for me. So basically right now, I'm luckily very healthy. I have not been in a situation where I've needed our system that much. But my cousin was unfortunately fell ill with cancer. She's also been very healthy. And her journey through the system, she hasn't spent a lot of money from the system. But when she was there, She got everything. She was through the system so fast. Unfortunately, it was an incurable cancer. We lost her this summer. But the system took her in for free. There were none of us who argued anything. She had a whole cancer research system. She went into extra consultations, and it wasn't just a healthcare system. It was also this, like her community, her commune that gives money for her as a single parent as well. They went in and helped her with how are your kids going to be? We can help you. If someone came in and actually helped her with what's going to happen after when you leave us. My sister were paid to go on leave to look after her as well from our system. So you can go your whole life not needing that system, but when it's there, you can have it on equal terms as everyone else. That is what we pay into. That is why I happily pay my tax, because you never know. We're kind of on the never know. You never know when it's you mentality. You never know when you need the system, when someone you care for needs the system, when your family needs the system. You never know when it's going to be you. That's why we pay our taxes with happy paying the taxes.
Yeah, I mean, and again, and you don't. It's like you take it for granted in a way, right? Because you have it. It's there.
Yes.
It's because the society, your society and other countries in Europe have invested in their society being healthier, being more educated, having more access to things. Because, as somebody who's worked, we realize that we have similar, marketing in our background, and we understand how important messaging is, right? And the messaging here from the American right is that universal health care, we can't do it. Our country's too big. Our taxes are going to go up 50%. People will take advantage of the system. It's hard to fight through that message. So I get a lot of MAGA people that are in my chat every day. They'll never admit it. They want to join my throuple. They'll never admit it. That's a different conversation. Anyway, what would be your message? What would be your message to them? To help them push through the lies that they've been told.
I think, first of all, I would encourage them to look at the actual numbers of the budgets. Whenever, we look at, and I know maybe that's a difficult one to go into, but if you look at your numbers and where spending is in your system, I think that you could, without even raising taxes, do a lot with the money that you're already paying in tax. On the second hand, on a more emotional level, if I were to say that, we have all had a loved one who was in a situation that was tough. We have all had a loved one. And that's our mentality, encourage people to think about their neighbors, loving thy neighbor. Isn't that a Christian? There's a lot of Christians, right?
Yeah. It's
a very Christian, I'm not very much into Christianity and all that, but when I said it, I was like, isn't that a Christian thing? Loving thy neighbor, encouraging people to think that this is actually the true Christian mentality, to make sure that your neighbor has the opportunity to get the help they need. It is not as expensive. If you do this, for example, what powerhouse would a unified healthcare system be for you? You guys are saying a lot to me that you have high prices on prescription, for example, right?
Correct.
So the reason that we don't have that is because whenever we go into a business negotiation with someone who delivers medicine, we have a lot of power in that negotiation. Therefore, we can keep the prices low. In your country, as far as I've understood, it's each hospital chain or hospital that has to negotiate the prices of this, as far as I've understood. You can
somewhat
very simplified. Maybe you can clarify.
Hospital groups. Yeah, hospital groups. I mean, it's not. Yeah, what you're talking about is the power of the collective bargain. The reason that drug costs in countries that have standardized medicine.
Second language to everyone here.
Yeah, I got you. No, I got you. Yep.
But please put some words. What it is.
Yeah, it's the collective bargain. So the idea would be the more people that are involved in negotiating prices, the better off all of our prices would be. That's part of what our friends on the right don't necessarily understand. That's one of the stigmas connected to it. Like I've done this economic breakdown. If we had universal health care, not only would we be healthier, but economically speaking, we would save thousands of dollars annually. And I've said this to anybody who wants to debate this topic. If somebody can give me an economic argument against a universal healthcare model, I would delete my account today and you would never see me again. That's how confident I am about it. So
yes, and I understand that, but I wanna challenge you, because then I'm gonna give you the arguments in Denmark against it. Because of course there are arguments here, or the issues that we're having with our system. Because of course it is not all kumbaya. Our country has issues. Correct. We are going into a national election right now on the 24th of March, and the conversations are heated. So one of the big arguments and one of the big things that people are critiquing right now is that we have to privatize more because of the quality of healthcare and because of what was it, the other argument I read the other day? 1 second, Steve. Yes, psychiatrists. So the whole area of psychiatry is not so good. It has been defunded. But in our system, it is such as we decide as a collective. So I have a lot of parties, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of different politicians, and they decide where the money goes. And right now we are discussing that would it be easier to privatize to bring back the lower the waiting time in the system? Because of course there's waiting time for non-urgent emergencies. Sure. That's an issue.
Rid of preservatives, a much more natural diet. That would also, universal healthcare here would also help with that, because if the government's paying the bill, they don't want people going to hospitals if there's crap in your food, right?
That is an absolutely amazing point, because yes, that is basically everyone wants to save money on people's health, basically, because it is a public system and we do have universal healthcare and everyone is paying for it. Everyone supports that we are healthy as people. Therefore, like we are following the EU restrictions on red 40, I think. Like we have a lot of the preservatives that are not allowed in our food. So food in Europe, like our French fries in McDonald's, you know what's on the ingredient list? Do you know that, Steve?
What's on the in Denmark?
We only have 3. We only have 3 ingredients. You guys, I think you have 15.
Salt, oil, and potatoes.
Exactly. Isn't that how it should be, right? Instead of your 50 different weird stuff that you put in there. So basically, we are all working to that. So there are also like mental health movements that are supporting the system. So everything that we invest in is for the greater good of the people. So the motivation is coming from a place of trying to save money. And I think I kind of like that because it's still, when you look at the capitalism, like it's still motivated by money, like you guys are. Like our actions are still motivated by money, because of course it has to be like a good investment. But they're investing in the people and trying to look at the future, the long term.
Our healthcare system is roughly 18% of our entire GDP. We will spend nearly $4 trillion on healthcare, and that doesn't even include everybody being insured. So I know we spent a lot of time talking about it, and I'm glad you spent some time talking about that. I want to give you a chance to, if there's anything else you wanted to share this morning, but I want people to feel inspired by that, because this is something that is possible here, which is again why we need to make sure that we're participating in democracy, that we're voting, that we're electing down ballot progressives, American progressives, like the left of liberal in the U.S. I'm a progressive here. I'm a registered progressive in my state, which is a unique distinction for Vermont, but there's hope. So we should not be settling. No more little slices of the pie. I want the whole damn pie. Things like that. So that's an inspiring message. Go ahead.
Totally true. And honestly, Steve, I would love to hear, because you have a lot of Americans in here, and I really appreciate you taking the time also to share the connection and the community that we have across the Atlantic. But I would love to hear if anyone has any questions. I don't know, to Adain, if you don't mind me asking that, Facts, because that's what I'm here for as well. If you don't mind.
Yeah, somebody did actually. There was a question in the chat. Someone had said, would you be willing to share how your paycheck breaks down when it comes to taxes as they contribute to the healthcare system in general, or just, I guess, the social safety net, so to speak, without getting too personal.
Yeah. Well, I can. I just have to make sure I'm saying the right. So if you can give me 2 minutes, you can tell people about anything. So just give me 2 minutes to make sure, because I don't really see my paycheck. It doesn't. It goes into a system. It's online. So I just have to make sure how it looks. So 1 second.
Gotcha.
I don't know how it looks right now.
I got you. You don't have to. I mean, again, you don't have to get too personal.
I would love
Go ahead.
to.
You can. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I would love
That's awesome. So friends, for those of you who are just joining, this is our friend Sinjay from Denmark. She hosts a lot of great lives. They're a lot different. They're more like ours. We don't no yelling and shouting. She refers to the Americans who come in at a level 12 when the conversation starts. We know that's absolutely true. That's something that we all need to work on here. If you don't follow her, please consider following her. For those of you that are here just joining us, thank you for joining us on Free Speech Friday. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Don't forget there's a gifting goal. Please be sure if you're gifting our amazing panelists. And for everybody who's in here today, if you've not yet joined our team, please consider doing so. We are, by the way, friends, can we get a shout out and some hearts in the chat for our mod, Sam? Sam is literally under tornado warnings everywhere currently. So, and Sam's like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'd be running and hiding behind bushes, but she's good. Just like another day as a farmer in Missouri. So hearts in the chat for her, please. And also, friends, if you have not yet considered contributing to the Do Something Tour, if you'd like to do that, you can find my pay apps at Cash App, at PayPal, at Venmo. Everything is at Factsstillmatter. In the link tree, you'll find the link to the Do Something Tour Instagram page. Please follow it there. And yeah, so there's that. There's a gifting goal. If we've not yet finished up banging out that gifting goal today, if you guys could take care of that for us too, that would be very welcomed and appreciated. We will not be doing a Facts After Dark tonight. We'll get back to our regular schedule, our regular cadence next Friday with Facts After Dark. We're going to be doing, I'm going to take your advice on that, Jess. It's a great idea. This is Women's History Month, so the more that you can promote female women creators on this app, there's a lot of great ones. Please consider doing that as well. So thank you. There you go, CJ.
Thank you. And if I can be really bold and say, I will be going live later. So if anyone want to come in and see how it is,
there you go.
Just as a woman.
Again, everybody, yeah, please. I mean, we've been getting suppressed a lot recently. Yeah. So if you don't yet follow Sinjay, please follow her. We'll make sure that we'll talk about that before we end today as to what time and where we can find you. So thank you for that. Somebody did a quick calculation, by the way. This is one of our mods. Thank you, Brooke. 37% of our total, in her case, 37% of total household income went to taxes, fed and state, Medicare, Medicaid, and healthcare premiums last year, just for reference. So that's 37%. And that's for someone who doesn't necessarily have, that's just the tax side. That doesn't include deductions. That doesn't include deductibles. That doesn't include out of pocket. So that's a big number.
It is around the same that I'm paying. But instead of taking mine, because right now I am currently on I'm a student. I'm writing my master thesis in business, and I get paid from the state to do that. I get around $1,200 a month, whereas a small amount of it is a loan. And then I have to pay taxes for that. So that's going to make it a little bit more complicated. So I found an article instead that is more of like an average Dane and what our system looks like. So, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love as well, Steve. Okay.
Sure.
So,
real quick, our YouTube chat is asking if you have a YouTube channel. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I just made it. You can find me. It's Sinjay_2. I just made it. I'm going to be posting more in there and doing some videos on that. Right now, I am trying to build up my Danish channel because I need to educate the Danes as well. Because right now we have an election and it's very important. So I'm trying to build that up as well. But yes, I am on the YouTube and I will be building it up. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Steve.
Sure thing. You got it.
Yes. Okay. 40,000 Danish crowns a month is about $5,800. That is kind of typical salary in Denmark. So everyone, you have to pay this, is paying labor market tax, which is 8%. So that's around the 3,200 Danish crowns. Oh, okay, I might have to change this into, okay, but that's 8%, okay? It's called labor market contribution. So that goes into a box where we all kind of, if we lose our job, that's where the money comes from, okay? Income tax, state and municipal, sorry, it's a hard word.
You got it.
Thank you. And church tax, because we're paying church tax. It is voluntarily, but you have to actively say that you don't want to pay it. That is around 37%. The same as you guys. Yeah, and that's after deduction. So we do have deductions as well, but around 37% for that. Then we had net take. So the person brings home around 22,000 Danish crowns, which is approximately half. So like $2,700 they bring home. Okay.
US dollars. Okay.
Yes. So, and I did see that they did. Okay. So, and a rough breakdown of the spending of tax money in Denmark is that out of the 100% of tax revenue, approximately 17 to 18% goes to our healthcare system. So that's the same as you guys, isn't it? Already? Did that you just said before?
Well, we don't. Well, so the breakdown that 37% in this case, 37% of total household income went to taxes, federal and state, Medicare, Medicaid, which we pay into from our payroll deductions, and then certain people have healthcare premiums connected to their employer. Because there's a couple of different types of healthcare programs. Ash, I don't know if you're in the chat, if you wanted to come up because you work in that field, that'd be great. But so people who don't have insurance or don't have an employer, you don't get your payroll, you don't get your premium deductions from your employer. So the problem in our system is because so many people are uninsured or underinsured, premiums are jacked up for everyone to cover those that don't have insurance. So it's not even an apples. We can't even make an apples to apples comparison. So
of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got people that have come into your lives that are Americans that, the alpha guys are like, oh, I don't need insurance because I'm healthy. I go to the gym. I chug protein shakes all day. I'm super healthy. Yeah. The rest of us are paying for them to go to the hospital if they need to. So the model you're describing, everyone pays that across the board so that everyone has insurance. We don't have that here.
Yes. And I just wanted to say to everyone, remember to repost this live, guys, because this is important information.
Yes, exactly. Repost it. The stream's available on YouTube as well. Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay, so we have 17% to 18% for healthcare. About of the total tax revenue, we have 13% that goes to education, 13 to 14%, and pensions for elderly. So whenever you go to retirement, you get a pension from the government is around 17 to 18%. Unemployment and social security is around 11 to 12% of the total tax revenue. We have childcare and family benefits, that is around 7%. Elderly care, nursing homes, home care, 8%. Public administration, 6%. Infrastructure and transport, 4%. Defense, 2 to 3%. And police and justice system, 2 to 3%. Environment, culture, and other programs is 5 to 6%. And that's why our
total
taxes
contribution. So the total contribution is roughly the same as ours, between 37 and 40%, but you get so much more with your tax dollars because you look at your society different than we look at ours. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Yes. And we do also have, we have to remember that there are taxes on other things as well. So we do have store taxes. I don't know what that called, the tax they put on goods that you buy in the store.
Sales tax.
Sales tax. We do have that as well. We have that, but that makes it, but that's just included in everything. So companies can deduct that as well. So that's the thing.
And it's interesting. That breakdown is interesting because we hear people that are in your systems that will complain about it, saying that your taxes are, your taxes are high, and I've never met anybody who's on a system, whether it be like the NHS in the UK or socialized programs in your country, that would ever give it up. They would never want to give it up. So they'll complain about it. They'll complain about it all day, but they'll never give it up if pressed, right?
Of course not. No, of course not. But we will complain. Everyone will complain.
Sure.
Yes.
So the model, friends, from a comparison perspective, they're paying roughly the same in taxes as we are, but they're not paying out-of-pocket premiums. They're not paying deductibles. They're not paying co-pays. They're not paying for medical devices. It's part of the deal. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of society do you want? So yes, would you be willing to pay a little bit more in taxes? Yes, we would, because we'd get so much more.
And remember that you always have to remember that we don't pay the big, we do have some insurances, but nothing like you guys. So if you look at how much does your insurance cost you every month compared to, would you be willing to pay that in taxes? The only thing that I will always encourage is that it is true that with the current mentality right now in the US, it's going to be really hard to have this system. Because right now your democracy is being tested. And therefore it is so very important that we keep this in mind. You have to build up a stronger system where people cannot take advantage of being in power. Because all of this, if you are doing this, if you're gonna do this, you have to have trust in government. And that is crucial. There has to be built up trust in government because they are going to get a lot of your money and they're going to choose where it's spent. And that's maybe going to be a little bit hard for the Americans. I don't know, Steve, you're American. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, well, that goes back to the American entitlement model, Sinjay, that we claim that we're the greatest country on earth. And I've never bought into that. I'm not a big flag waver, patriotic kind of person. I think about the opportunity that the United States has with all of our wealth, right? If we made the decision on the collective that we are going to have the best healthcare system in the world, I believe we could. If we say that we want to have the best public education system in the world, I believe that we could. It's just about shifting the priorities. I think about, not to pivot into the Epstein files, I think about other countries around the world holding their elected officials and their prominent figures accountable, and we're not doing that here. That tells me that we're so far from being the greatest country on earth. Potentially, do we have the potential to be? Yeah, but I want to measure it differently. I want to use our money for different things. Yeah, and I think the rest of the world does. I mean, people, I'm glad you said what you said about how there's still hope because of who we are as individuals, right? How the compassionate, the pure souls, the people who are driven by empathy, like I am. Shocker. That's important for people. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, and we feel the same way, and that's what we want people to think of. Now you feel like you have to apologize for being an American, and that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. I don't want that. I've taken a lot of your time this morning, and I just want. Is there anything else that you would like to say to people who we'll probably do this again because I think there's so much more we can unpack here. But what would you like to say if people are meeting you the first time, seeing you the first time? What would be to leave people with hope? What would you like to say?
Well, if I can say two things on that. So first, your first question. If you guys are coming to my lives for the first time, I would love to have you. I will give you space. I will give you space. I will not require you to know everything because I don't believe we know everything as humans. We cannot. If you want to come in and have comfortable, good conversations, because that is why I do the lives. That's why Steve does as well. It's about us coming together and having good conversations, being curious, learning from each other, being open-minded, asking the hard questions. You don't have to say sorry about being American. You don't have to say sorry about anything in my space, at least, because that's not what it's about. I'm not asking for anyone to say sorry. You're not responsible for the actions of the government, but you're responsible for educating yourself and being a part of a good community. Yeah, and I think that's all it is. Like, let's bring more love to the world and more empathy. And thank you.
Some people ask
thank you for
before we let you go. Some people asked about how your government and your society addresses racism.
Well, I can stay, Steve, but this is a very big question. But I can give you like a short one. I would love to have that conversation because the current situation is that we are feeling the movement coming from the US, unfortunately. So, but there is a very clear distinction between what is, like, how do we speak? So I would say hate, because what you're experiencing is very much racism in the US, and it's very much based on racism. In Europe, because of our history, because of what we've gone through, it's not that there isn't racism, but it is just framed differently. So that's why I wanted to call it hate instead. Because in Europe, people are hating on Muslims right now. People are hating on people with different cultures, or as we are demonizing other cultures. That is what's happening right now. People are, so governments all over Europe, different countries, are creating a rhetoric that is very simplified, very uninformed. And I know that the US, you guys are hearing that, I know that in here you're critical to news, but I've heard from a lot that you're like, no, but the Muslims are taking over Europe. And that is the far right racism, discriminating, hateful parties who are making these claims, which are simply not true. Like, they are not true. If you look at the numbers, if you look at the amount of people who are in Muslim and in European countries, that is not true. It's like around, I think the highest number is in France, which is the biggest country. And I think it's around 9% of the population that are Muslims. Like, it's those numbers. And that is something that worries me a lot in Europe. It worries me a lot. The hateful communication. And I've seen that Trump and MAGA, all that, they are putting money into that in Europe and to the elections. So we are very, very, and actually on a very good note, Denmark has just made a law that the parties in Denmark are not allowed to take money from abroad, from anyone. So it's only Danish companies that can give monies to parties in Denmark. So
really,
we are aware of it. Yes, because of what happened in Germany with Elon Musk. So on, like, hate is spreading. That's why I feel it's very important to have this conversation as well in Danish for the people who are Danish, because we need to be more wary of what we jump into. We believe in good rhetoric. So, like, it's easier to believe someone saying like, like we have one who's arguing international conventions are keeping us from being able to send back illegal, like, immigrants who are doing crime. That's the thing. That's a very big issue right now in Denmark, that like very hardcore criminal cannot be sent home because of conventions, because we like have Hague and the whole like human rights. So they're trying to get out of that. One party is saying that we should get out of that. The issue is that this party is a right-wing, very capitalistic, want a more American society. And what you have to remember is that convention also gets people that runs from Denmark because of economic crimes. It's the same conventions that help us get them back. So in the end, like, what is the reasoning behind this? This is like maybe two immigrants, maybe two people who are doing this. But the greater good of this is that the big corporations and people who do economic crime, it will be easier for them to flee the country. So I'm always saying, like, what is the distraction? Also in Danish politics, what is the distraction? Because whenever people are talking racism, whenever people are talking hate, there's always something behind. Like, what are they trying to gain? So it is happening, and I'm angry about it. I'm going to fight it, Steve.
It's the free speech debate, right, Sanjay? Like, you know, we obviously free speech is I respect that, but hate speech is something that's illegal in your country in many ways, right? So can you unpack that for people who are listening?
Yes. So in Denmark, we have a law against racism and hate speech. So you are not allowed to publicly discriminate or talk on people on the basis of race, gender, sexual orientation, all this. And it's a rather new law. It is still being tested right now, and we're trying to find our way in it. There's a lot of pushback because, you know, freedom of speech, it is limiting. Of course it is. But for many Danes, I think we believe that if you have to go there, you're not smart enough. Like, you don't have education enough to be a part of the conversation, honestly. So yeah, we have, and that's also on my page. We don't do that. No name calling and hate speech, because we're on a Danish server, so we follow Danish law. So just FYI. But yeah, we do. And a lot of people are trying to push back, especially MAGA American people come in and push back on that.
It's a contentious discussion, because who's the arbiter as to what's considered hate speech, right? And I think that's the challenge. Like, it may not be, someone may not consider it hateful. I mean, it's obvious to most of us what it's intended to do, and, you know, racial slurs and, you know, disparaging members of marginalized communities in particular, they're intended to do a few things, in my opinion. Well, simplified, it's hate speech. That's what it is. And I respect I respect the free speech component. I respect freedom of religion. I respect all those elements, but there has to be some sort of, I don't want to say control, but maybe in future generations of Americans, maybe there is models that we can learn from, to say our other countries around the world are still dealing with racism. But they've addressed it to make it so people feel either, I'm not going to say safer in their society, but blatant disregard for humanity is not something that should be. People shouldn't be able to do that, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. But allow laws to protect people more than they do here, I guess I'll say.
But it comes back to what I said before. Because, of course, if you are scared of someone getting into power who will abuse this, because you can abuse it. Of course you can abuse it. It's the trust in the government. It's the trust in the government. It is the fact that we believe that because we don't have a two-party system either. It's not either or. We have a lot of parties, and it is a folk-led system. We call it a folk system, like a folk-led system. It is for the people. The people are the ones. Like, we have people who have worked on farms, like old farmers who go into parliament, like, just because they are interested in it and they have a case. But I'm so sorry, but one of my amazing followers wrote that she had a question. And if it's...
Sure.
If I may answer that, Steve Jules, writing of our legal... I can answer that very quickly. Yes.
Go for it.
Jules, no, they don't. We can't. We got we have a very different system in Denmark than your legal system. So we usually make a lot of fun with the American. We have two lawsuits that has gone around the world. Probably you guys probably know it. That happened in the US. It was someone putting their cat in a microwave and then getting the money back. It's an old one. It's something that we always do when we make fun of the American system. I'm sorry. And the American law system. We said that someone could, because she usually did it in her oven, then she got a microwave and then it obviously didn't live through that. And then she won the case. Yeah, that's a case. You can look it up. It's something that happened in the US. Anyways, the thing is that we have something called bonus pater familias. It's a Latin word. So we can, a judge can go in and say, is this a common thing? Should you have used common sense before doing this? Then the judge can go in and say, this is bonus pater familias, and thereby you cannot sue anyone.
Got it.
So, yeah, we have that. That's a very, that holds our legal system very much in check. So our system kind of decides that if you're that stupid, no, you're not going to get paid for it. You should have known more about it.
Suing because a cup of coffee was too hot, for example, is a model that people like to use here in the States, right?
Yeah,
and we've
heard about that.
A very litigious. Yeah, we have a very litigious society. People feel like they can take advantage of the system. There's due respect to attorneys, but there is an entire industry of, ambulance chasers, they're called, right? To try to create something out of nothing, which bogs down the court systems for things that are more important, like immigration, for example, or child protective services, or things like that, because the system tends to favor people who just want to take advantage of the system, and that's unfortunate. So your system has guardrails in place. So the judge is like, listen, that was stupid. You should have known the coffee was hot. Sorry, case dismissed, basically, right?
Yeah, it is basically, that's very simplified, but yes, we do have a person. That's the first thing you I did a law class, and that's the first thing, we would never be able to do American lawsuits because we have that. We have that person who is the epitome of a human being with good morals, ethics, and understanding of society. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I saw people commenting on the coffee case. I was just trying to make a point about how litigious our society's become. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can do it very brief on the coffee thing. We do know that it was actually a horrible situation. They did a whole documentary, and McDonald's was at fault. But
correct. I wasn't trying to diminish the case. I was just trying to make a point. But yeah, you get that. This has been great. Thank you so very much for your time. In closing, what would you like to share for folks to? Just to kind of, from a hopeful perspective, what would you like to share with our audience? Which, by the way, I know you and I fight about this, but smartest chat on TikTok. I mean, I'll give you the crossover. There's some blending there. I'll give you that, but let's be real, right?
I can see you have a good chat. I give you that. Maybe they're equally good. They're equally good.
Yes, fine.
We can say they are sharing a first place.
Yes, we can share the top of the podium together. Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yes.
So, how would you like to wrap today? Go for it.
Okay. This is the first time in history that we are going through a big world crisis where we can actually talk to each other while it's happening. This is crazy. This is amazing. Whatever you're doing, Steve, I'm trying to do as well. Good conversations on what is happening, connecting people, helping each other, trying to educate, because sometimes it can be very difficult to maneuver in this internet world. Two things on that. Try to find safe spaces, and mental health always comes first. You should not be on this app if you feel anxious scrolling. You should take a break. Close it down, because you cannot act if you are stressed. You cannot think if you are stressed. If you are in a fight or flight mode, you have to get your nervous system down. Because if your nervous system is in flight and fight, you're going to be breaking. You're going to make bad decisions. And the only advice I can give is take a break, remove yourself, like touch some grass, sit down, look at the heavens, like look at the good things you have in life. And then you can come back. That is like that's what's made me go through a lot of hard stuff. And especially with the world being like this, like find good communities and remove the bad ones. You don't have to see that. Like ignore it. Don't search it out.
That is such good advice. Thank you very much.
You.
What time do you think you'll be going live? Oh, it's my honor. We'll come back. We can do this again because I think there's a lot of opportunity for folks to learn. And what I'm trying to remind folks of is that we've got to keep hope front and center. Our focus needs to be on humanity, and if it's not us, then who? If it's not now, then when? It's these kinds of things. So, and I know you do the same, and our audience and my followers really appreciate you, and you've always been very generous with your space for me to join. So I appreciate that. When are you going live today?
Well, I think when you're finishing, I will probably be live. I will just have some water, and then I think I will start up my live very slowly. And so around when you finish, I will be live. But I just wanted to say I thank you. Oh no! I'm so. Remember to follow me then. We will make a freaking party for you guys if you come in and rate me. I promise you. We'll have the biggest party in the world. I promise you. Oh my God. Well, thank you.
It's our own little détente, so to speak.
Oh, I love you guys. I love you. And I get very emotional with all the things that you're saying, Steve. I appreciate you. I am so grateful for meeting you and your chat and everyone here. So just wanted to say thank you. And I would love to come back if you want me.
You will absolutely have you back. Thank you again. Everybody, please, if you're not yet following Sanjay, she's going to go live. We'll rate her when we're done. Thank you for being here, friend. I appreciate you. And we'll talk soon. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe.
You too. Bye.
I'm sorry. I hate it when that happens. You never know when to end. But thank you, Sanjay, for that. And again, friends, the reason that I think that these conversations are important is because we as Americans, for the most part, we're just not aware of the rest of the world. And I think it should be reassuring, and maybe reassuring is the wrong word. It should give you hope that people outside of our country looking in know that the bulk of our country are not what we see in TikTok spaces, right? We're not all just filled with hate. Sure, we have a system built on racism and white supremacy. There is no denying that. That exists. That is real. The question then becomes, how do we want to move forward with our society, right? Do we want to make sure that we're electing people who are willing to say, I'm going to run on a campaign, I'm going to run on a platform of universal health care? Because that's what we all want. We all want lives to be better. And I'm going to take this opportunity just to kind of share from Bernie, in case you didn't know. So Bernie Sanders has proposed a $4.4 trillion tax on billionaires. Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont teamed up with Ro Khanna in the House to propose a 5% annual wealth tax on the nation's billionaires that would raise an estimated $4.4 trillion over the next decade to help working families cope with higher living costs. The tax hike would only apply to the 938 billionaires in the United States who collectively own, sit down for this, there's 938 billionaires in the United States. Combined, they have $8.2 trillion in wealth. The legislation would redistribute that wealth by providing $3,000 direct payments in its first year of enactment to every person in a household earning less than $150,000 in annual income. We can no longer tolerate a corrupt tax code that enables billionaires to pay I'll do it for you. We can no longer tolerate a corporate tax code that enables billionaires to pay a lower tax rate than the average worker, Sanders said in a statement. In a democratic society, we cannot tolerate 60% of our people living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay for housing, food, and health care, while 938 billionaires have become $1.5 trillion richer, which has happened. The Sanders-Connor proposal would reverse the $1.1 trillion in tax cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act made by President Trump's big, beautiful bill, and it would expand Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing for millions of senior citizens. It would also ensure that no family pays more than 7% of their income on child care and establish a minimum $60,000 annual salary for every public school teacher in the country. Did you catch that? guarantee at a minimum that every single childcare, every single salaried teacher in America who work in public schools would get a $60,000 minimum salary. Kana, a progressive Democrat who represents Silicon Valley and the nation, faces a deep economic divide. We can tax billionaires a modest amount to make sure everyone has a fair chance while keeping our innovative engine. That is why I am proud to join Senator Bernie Sanders to lead the Make Billionaires Pay Their Fair Share Act. Find me an argument against that. 938 billionaires, combined wealth of $8.2 trillion. That group of billionaires has increased their wealth in the last 14 months by nearly $2 trillion, and we don't have health care. Find me an argument. How could you possibly be opposed to that? It's a 5% tax increase. That's it. 5%. That would generate $4.4 trillion over the next decade. Guaranteeing minimum for public school teachers, $60,000 salary. Where's the argument against it? Where is it? How do you argue against that? Because if you argue against it, then guess what? Good call, Michelle. Good call. Good call. Yeah, I got you. The legislation would then redistribute that wealth by providing $3,000 direct payments in its first year of enactment to every person in a household earning less than $150,000 a year in annual income. Find me an argument against that. This has been his model for decades. You know, people say what you want about Bernie, but he has not changed. I've worked on his campaigns. His message has been exactly the same for decades about going after corporate tax cheats, about going after the billionaire class. That's why they can't stand him. That's why the DNC fucking hates Bernie. They can hate me all they want, but I've got the best mittens. I got preferred parking because I'm older, but I can play basketball and I want to tax the fucking rich. I'd love to hear Bernie drop an F-bomb, so that'd be great, right? How do you argue against it? Find me an argument against that. There is none. There just is none. Good morning, Skip. How are you today?
Oh my God. Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Oh man, I have so much on my mind. I just wanted to say, I don't know if she's still in the chat. I think she's probably getting ready for her live, but that was Sinjay. Yeah, that was just a really great conversation. So I just wanted to say thank you for both kind of facilitating that and having it.
Sure, absolutely. More to come.
Yeah. I have so much on my mind. There's like so many things that I could share, and I'm kind of like trying to figure out, I guess, which kind of thing to roll with first. I think I'm really upset. I'm really upset, and you know, there's everything's just going on, and I want to hear the hope, and I want to hear those things, but it's still hard. Like everything, I just feel like every single day, we're not even looking for bad news, and the bad news is still coming, you know? Mm-hmm. And I get so frustrated by people that don't have any empathy towards like children across the world. I get upset because I feel like we don't even know how to have community anymore. You know, like I'm queer. I'm in Oregon. I'm in Oregon, and I don't know. I thought it was maybe just like queer people over here, but I'm realizing that it's pretty much everyone. I feel like like we just there's not the community that I used to feel like a decade ago here, and it's just hard. And I don't know, man. It's just really like I really just, I don't know, I'm really just kind of like upset about, not even just the everyday news cycles, but it's like how it's how what you and Sinjay were talking about, treating each other, how people treat each other. And, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, pretty much.
Look, I can tell you this, Skip, we all feel it, right? We all feel it every day. And I think the challenge that we're all going to face is the resistance is going to take many forms. The oppressors in this case want you to feel the way that you feel. Like they want you to feel defeat. They want you to say, I'm tapping out. I have nothing left to fight for, or I have nothing in me to fight with. And I bring this conversation back to Black women again, because every
telling us every time
they show up for you.
Period. Yeah.
They show up for you. They show up for me, and they show up for everyone.
Even when they say that they're not going to because they're tired.
But you know what? But they're going to again, and we have to show up for them.
It's this guy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, there's no part of me, I don't want to get it twisted. There's no part of me that is absolutely kind of like, I
know.
Allergic to.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's no kind of like ambivalence or kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just kind of, all right, well, screw it.
Apathy.
Apathy. Thank you. Yeah. Apathy.
Yeah. Yep. I get it.
But yeah, it's just, and then, yeah.
I got it. I mean, I understand. I mean, as a cis white hetero white man in America, I owe you. That's what it comes down to. However you want to interpret that, whether it be through just showing up more, becoming an accomplice for you to tell me that I'm an ally. I'm speaking to you as a representative of your community. That's why I'm saying this. That's what I owe you. That's what white women owe you, and that's what people who've checked out owe you. We can't expect others to carry the burden for us. We're the ones that have been we're the ones that have been having our foot on the scale, keeping shit bad.
It's all of us, it's just, and I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the sentiment for sure. I just think that, I really just wish that we had community. I used to be able to foster it. I was really good at it. I used to do community organization, and now I'm just kind of like sitting, and I know it's not, I feel like particularly alone over here just because my brother passed a couple months ago.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thanks. And, but there is also like, I'm just kind of waiting for this thing to kind of, this stasis to happen and for things to kind of level out. And then just kind of waking up and looking at like the clock, like the countdown, just 3 years. 3? I don't know if I have 3. There's people hurting now, so.
There are people hurting now for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think if you said you're a community activist, now is the time. This is when we need community activists more than ever.
Yeah, I mean,
right? I'm doing this little thing called the Do Something Tour. We're going to need community activists all across the country to help us organize, to help people stay informed, engaged, motivated, challenged, pushed. Getting people outside of their comfort zone. Right? You're not alone in this. We're all fighting this. You've been through tremendous loss, and your community's under threat every single day. I get it. Got to stay in the fight.
Yeah. Thank you so much for letting me come on. And I felt like I didn't even want to kind of request because I felt I've been feeling just super emotional all week, So
I got you.
Yeah. So thanks for just letting me come up on here and just talking. So I appreciate it a lot.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you very much. Stay strong. Be safe out there.
You too.
I think we all feel that way, right? We all feel that way. I think how do I want to say this? It's important to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. That's the whole point. I just want people to feel like they can, obviously this is a space for people to get whatever's off their chest, or on their chest, off their chest. They don't want you to speak. You're right, Michelle. It's incredibly imperative to feel whatever you're feeling. You know, I'm never shy about how my feelings, because they come and go. You know, there's days when I'm like so completely just despondent. I'm not even sure I can do the show, to be honest. But I do it because it's important to me and it's important to others. That's my thing, right? They don't want you to. They want you to be so emotionally distraught and filled with anxiety and upset and angry that they just want you to quit. You think about that. It's because they're afraid of you. You're welcome, Skip. Thank you for being here. They're afraid of you. They don't want you to be heard, which is why this result in Texas scares the shit out of them. And these down ballot races across the country and flipping 27 seats from Republican to Democrat, they are terrified. They're terrified. So this is an opportunity, right? Like, you got to get yourself off the couch. And this is the figuratively speaking. Get yourself off the couch. You know, get people out of their comfort zone. People to feel that they still have a voice. That's, again, what Do Something is all about. I got you, Michelle. No sweat. Hang on one second. Let me just go here. Heather says, I got you. Yeah. You meant to vote for the harm reduction always. It's when two Democrats running against each other. I don't let misogyny and racism dictate your vote. It does. Yes, Heather, I got you. I know exactly what you're saying. I appreciate that. Thank you to Laverne, Savage, Crystal, Laverne. Laverne says, you did the happy dance. I appreciate that very much. That's incredibly kind of you. A Seinfeld reference. That always makes me smile. Hector, thank you. Hector says, to follow up on Olive's mom and Obi-Wan's and others, no video producer, but I'm tech savvy, so I'll offer you free services. Thank you very much, Hector. I appreciate that. I will certainly get something. That's on me. I own that. I will get my voice somewhere and put out there somewhere so we can do something. And I'll turn my speech into an ad. Let's do it. If people want to make calls, this is from Dina. If people want to make calls to their constituents but do not have the languages to use, is there a script or somewhere to look for the words? Love what you're doing. Dina, yes, I wrote a script at one point for people to use to call their Congress people. They got still in the chat someplace. If not, I will find something again for you to use. Thank you for your incredibly kind contribution, Dina, for your $100 on Venmo. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I think I got everybody there. Let me go over here and check real quick. So yes, if we don't have it, 5 Calls app can help with that too. If you don't have it, I will write one for you. I got you. It's what I do. Okay. Let me bring up a few other people here. My stomach. My stomach's been bothering me. I've been eating very well. Just cereal. Okay. We're going till noon today, and then we'll raid Sinjay, friends. Thanks for hanging in there on a Free Speech Friday. Redbird, how are you today?
Hey, Steve. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing Sinjay up.
Sure.
How enlightening it is to think about a world where everybody is thought of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. As you all know, I am a caregiver to my husband. Well, maybe not all of you know that. I am a caregiver to my husband, and I am caring for him at home as a non-paid one because spouses do not get the opportunity to get paid to care for their husbands at home. He is post-stroke 4.5 years. And folks, if you don't think that something like this couldn't happen to you, think again. Not that I want it to, but any time your life can change in the blink of an eye. We really need to stop thinking about ourselves. We have to stop thinking about ourselves. You have to think about others and putting yourself in their shoes to see how they feel. And just when she said that when she made the point about, if you have a loved one at home, you're able to stay at home and care for them and not be financially burdened by that. I can't tell you how much that hit me.
I know.
We were good, hardworking people all of our lives. My husband was a coal miner, I know. In 30 years, we live in central Illinois. And then when the coal mine shut down, he went and retrained, and he was a nurse for 18 years after that. I was a nurse tech for 30 years. And then I worked in a cardiology office. And then, the choice of me to stay at home with my husband, yes, it was my choice, but it should never have to be a burden. So I want to thank you, Steve, for giving me the voice to open up my page. And I want to do something about family caregiving in this country. And I'm very serious about that. I might not be the smartest crayon in the box, but people's voices need to be heard. So I'm collecting stories from people on my page, and I'm going to do something with that. I'm going to do something with it. And I don't know how, but I'm going to. We all have to think about each other, you guys. And I'm telling you, if you think you're financially ready for this, you better be a millionaire, because there's so many things that aren't covered by insurance and Medicare, all the extras. There's 63 million family caregivers in this country. We are providing $600 billion annually in free care. That's a fact. And I just wanted to thank you. And I know my story. My story is not any different than any family caregiver. And that's why I opened my page, and I have quite a few people. I do go live, and it's just, you just don't understand the stresses that we go through.
I understand that. I do. It's your story, though. So it is your story. It's the most important one because it's your story. And the fact that you said you're struggling with what to do, you're doing something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be organized. The whole point is, you know what it's like. I mean, caregivers, hearts in the chat, please. Let Redbird be the face and the voice of caregivers, because it is one of those jobs. Is somebody, yeah, there you go.
No, go ahead.
No, you.
No, I'm willing to be that voice. I want to look people in the eye and tell them these stories. That's what I want to do. I want to look them in the eye and tell them these stories, because we are here. We're invisible. We're kind of like Cinderella. We're at home. We're doing all the work, and the stepsisters get to go to the ball while everybody else carries on with their life. We should not have to feel like that. We deserve respite care. I haven't had a day off in 30 months. It's been 30 months since I've had a day off. Having to hire somebody to come in here to watch my husband so I could go work a job to pay the person to watch him, well, that's silly.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to go to an extended care facility, because I worked in one when I first started out. I worked as a CNA in an extended care facility, and so did my husband. We know that these people are not getting the care that they deserve because there's not enough help. And once again, corporate greed. So I just want everybody to think about, this is not about, my story is like everybody else's story in a different way. You cannot think about yourselves. I just don't understand where the empathy and the humanity has went into this world. I don't understand, because if you're making fun of it or you're looking down on it, be very careful on what you hate on. Your life can change in the blink of an eye.
So well said, Redbird. Thank you so very, very much for being here. Appreciate you very much.
You guys have a good weekend. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I got emotional about that, but
don't ever
it's really
apologize.
weighing heavy on me.
Don't ever apologize. Please don't.
There's so many of us out here like this. So many.
There are too many. And your voice
and I'm
is going
tired
to
of being
help others
silent.
feel empowered. Don't.
I'm tired of being silent.
I am glad. I'm so glad to hear you say that. I mean, your voice is maybe your voice is going to hopefully inspire others to do the same. So, and for people who are caregivers in the chat, I've been there. There's lots of you. You have a colleague. You have an ally. You've got a friend. You've got somebody who's shared your experience. You guys should connect, form your own community, and then figure out a way to get the message of caregivers across the country out there. We love you, Redbird. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you very much.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Same to you. It's a story of many. You know, it's a story of many. It's never a job that you expect to have. It's a job that you're given. It's a job that you give of yourself. You know, and I'm often I get death threats weekly because I'm radical, because I care about people. You know, I don't care. Bring it on. You think it's going to silence me? No, not when we have conversations like we just had with people like Redbird and others. It's an incredibly one of the most difficult jobs you'll ever have. And in our country, she gave a model. She's got to take a job to be able to pay for somebody to come into her home while she's at her job to care for her husband. So many stories of that. Most single moms having to take a job to get insurance. They have to, the money that they earn at their job is just enough to cover the daycare that they put their kid in so that they can have the job. Make it make sense. I mean, make that make sense. It's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. We don't need it. We're better. We have to be better than that. Lady Hawk, how are you today?
Hey, Steve. Hey, if Lady Bird's still listening, she can get paid through Medicaid if she has a CNA license for taking care of her husband.
Oh.
So
well,
that
there you
might
go.
be something.
That's community.
Yeah, that might be something she wants to look into. So anyway,
good idea.
Yeah, if she needs help, have her reach out to me and I'll give her some help. I'm pretty well versed in Medicaid matters, and I took care of my dad for 14 years. So I did not get paid.
It seems like maybe she tried, and maybe it's a state issue, but I think she saw your comment, and maybe the two of you can figure out a way to connect.
Absolutely. All righty, and I have more donations for you, but I'll connect with you over the weekend.
Thank you very much, friend. I appreciate you. Have a great
no
weekend.
worries.
Be safe out there.
You too. Bye now.
All right. Okay. Bye. See, this is what we do here. This is what we do. I love that shit, man. I fucking love it. I love this community so much. You have no idea how much I love this community. It's unbelievable. Look out for each other. It's our little island. Sure, we're the misfit toys. We'll even, you know what? We're so generous in our island that we'll even allow millennials to join us. I'm going to pay for that one. I'm going to be take it in shrapnel. I know. I'm sorry. I know. It's a running joke. Okay. Let me just check on one other thing here real quick. Sorry about the stomach. Let me just go back to the conversation we had with millennials are catching strays. Yeah, well, if you know, you know. I know. Anything's possible, right? You just have to want it bad enough. I'm one of those people that, there's nothing that I am not willing to try once, right? If it's something that I feel like there's an opportunity to maybe make it better the next time, then I'm going to try that again, right? Because I think that the American experiment depends on, like we talked about earlier, about how what this administration's been able to do is identify gaps in our system and then take advantage of those gaps, right? We saw it the first time with the first Trump administration. They said, "Oh, let's test the the Electoral Count Act. Let's test judges." except liver. Maybe Sharon. I'll try that. Let's test the judicial system. Let's test the court systems. So for any system to work, right? For any system to work, it requires people of character, people with integrity, honesty, all those kinds of things. And because we have become conditioned in our society to just take what we're given, we become entitled. That's the definition. Apathetic, entitled, whatever that might be. And we don't fight for things enough. So when Bernie's talking about for the oligarchy, there you go, Dano. When he's talking about, $4.4 trillion for tax on billionaires, why is there any resistance to that? Because what the right has been able to do is to convince their voters that, if the oligarchs get taxed, then you're next. Yeah, no. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That group of people, the 938 billionaires, I'll say this again, 938 billionaires, combined wealth of $8.2 trillion. Our deficit is what, 38 trillion? So quick math, that's roughly a quarter of our national debt that the wealth of 938 billionaires have. If that can't be a common ground issue, then the people on the right don't give a fuck about the things that they claim for. And even moderate Democrats as well, because they're afraid of it too. That's why we want progressives in charge. That's why we want the matriarchy to run the ship, to drive the ship. That's why we want black women's voices to be leading us through this thing. Because again, it's the prioritization of things that should matter. Sure, economic systems, the court systems, all kinds of things that need to be fixed. But what's the impetus behind it? Scandinavian countries, parts of Europe, other parts of the world have said the impetus behind what we want to do is about making our society better. And how do we do that? We're going to use legislation to do that. We're going to pass laws that says, racism and hate speech is outlawed. That's going to be a fight here, but we can certainly address the tax code. So Trump supporters, why are you defending the TCJA? Why are you defending the tax cuts in the one big beautiful bill? It doesn't benefit you. It just doesn't. You want to ignore the situation and say, why then is it just a coincidence that those 938 billionaires have increased their wealth $1.5 trillion since Trump took office? And you don't want to increase funding for SNAP? And you don't want health care? Do you understand you would save money? Do you understand that? Do you understand the breakdown that Sinjay gave us? We're paying roughly the same tax percentage, except they get health care and we don't. It's simple. What was the number she said? 2% towards their defense? I think ours is 11% per paycheck towards our defense. Something to that effect. Don't quote me on that. But it's definitely double digits. Yeah, you're right, Amy Lee. We can't afford to eat. And gas prices are up 30 cents over the last couple of days. What the fuck are we fighting for? I know what I am. I know what I'm fighting for. So again, this is a call to people on the left. Please. Ideologically, we agree on many, many things, right? We agree on many, many things. We agree on how we want to progress our society forward. Where we don't agree is your unwillingness to prioritize harm reduction. You have to. You have no choice, because we are fighting to make your life better too. So when the time comes, Texas voters, Crockett supporters, please, you've got to vote for James Tallarico. You have to. You have no choice. If you don't see that yet, then maybe this isn't the place for you, quite frankly. And this applies to moderate Democrats across the country. I want a fucking progressive in every seat. I know that that's not possible overnight. I do know it's possible if we continue to vote. I want to change the system. I want ranked choice voting. I want the elimination of the Electoral College. I want to stack the court. I want to expand the Supreme Court so it's up to 13 seats. I want to get rid of Citizens United. I said that. I want to get money out of politics. I want to outlaw lobbying. I want to overfund public education. I want to make sure that women's rights to their body are protected. I want marginalized communities across the country to have their rights progress and as opposed to regress. And we can't do that unless we are willing to play the long game. Do I expect it to happen in my lifetime? I don't. But in my kids, that's my hope. And your kids, that's my hope. I want to thank you all for being here today on Free Speech Friday. It's a great show. It's been a great series of shows this week. We've got a job to do. You know, we're going to be out on the road. I'll be in New York at the end of this month for the No Kings protests. I'm going to use that as a, you know, I've already had some great opportunities here to change some minds potentially and just have these great conversations. Don't know what to expect at that particular event, but I'm going to be there. And there's going to be others. I'll be going to swing states. I'll be going to other states across the country. I'm going to do thousands of miles. And I'm looking forward to it. That's likely going to start this fall. It's going to be a 2-month push to election day. And I'm going to be a pain in the ass of many people. But if that's what it takes, I'm going to use my privilege. I think I've got a couple people. I don't think I've got the time. Sorry, King, I'm not going to do that right now. So my call to you is this. If I can do something, you can do something. And if that person can do something, then that person can do something. This is the ripple in the pond, the puddle ripple in the pond moment. You drop the pebble in and the ripples expand. The concentric circles get bigger and bigger and bigger. Thank you, mods. You guys are amazing individuals. No Facts After Dark tonight, friends. We'll be back live Monday morning. You might see me out in the streets this weekend. Please touch some grass. Hopefully the weather's nice. Get outside. Let some sun get on your face. Got a lot of work to do, friends. Thank you all for being here. Please go raid Sinjay. Thank her for her time that she spent with us. And then if you don't follow her, please do. I love you all. We'll see you Monday morning.